Yes, sir, we promised you a great deal of tonight.
Andre, the China WrestleMania!
Hulkamania is running wild.
My God, what a run! It's not a world is watching.
Still love that thing. It took, that's like 20 seconds, Henry, and it took me like an hour and a half to put together.
It's getting a lot better, Frank. It definitely looks nice.
Yeah.
And I bet the rest of our viewers out there on YouTube land are wondering, well, Frank normally does this by himself. What the hell is Henry doing here? Tonight's episode of Top Guy Theater, the 2000 WWF Royal Rumble, is something that we've actually covered before in a much, much longer format. Tonight, we are giving it the fresh paint of coat, as some people would like to say,
Right.
and doing it Top Guy Theater style now. And we are introducing a new concept, if it takes, called Top Guy Classics, where we're going to slowly go back and watch some of the old episodes that we've done and do them in the current format in which we do them now. And hopefully everything works and we managed to net ourselves a new show idea. But because I don't have any banners or gimmicks or anything like that, this is still going to be a standard episode of Top Guy Theater that you'll find in your feed wherever you listen to us or on YouTube. I think I have that somewhere. That's something we can get to later.
But Henry, tonight we're gonna be talking to Matt M, and I've wanted to talk to him for quite some time. I've seen him all over Zoom, our AFS Zooms. I've seen him all over Efren's WrestleGamia and the game event. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know him a lot tonight. And he's probably listened to Grilling JR, but this is gonna be Grilling Matt. So, are you ready to do this?
Let's get it on, my friend.
All right, drop that off for me, and I'm gonna play the open. All right,
Away
here we go. Away we go. Hey! So let's kick it right off because we got to get into this Royal Rumble. We're going to talk all about Mae Young's boobs. Michael McClanahan, edit point. So he's writing it down. Matt, my friend, how the hell are you?
Doing good. I'm excited for this. I'm ready to be grilled.
All right. Is that the smoking skull behind you?
It is the smoking skull.
You went the wrong way. You went the wrong way. You were right. You went the wrong way.
I told you. Yeah, I'm a little bugged by it because it's got the WWE logo, not WWF, which is what it had when it was really on screen. But yeah, I bought that before my wedding, and it was I wore it a little bit at the wedding, and it was also we had a photo booth there, and that was one of the props at the photo booth.
I hope your wife doesn't kill me for telling you this, but I know of a belt maker because it drives me crazy that WWE has the old belts out without on them. So I'm not kidding you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 old era 80s WWF belts with the legit block logo WWF belt, and right now I'm having them make the Big Eagle belt, which was Austin's belt after WrestleMania 14, with the scratch logo, because it's not real to me. Like I'd buy off a shop the like one of their current belts, because that makes sense, right? Like their WWE Championship or the WWE Universal. But if I'm gonna go buy an old school Intercontinental Championship, the likes of which Shawn Michaels and Randy Savage wore, or Mr. Perfect, that era belt, I want that belt with the WWF logo on it. I don't want it.
I hear you.
I originally bought that Intercontinental title with the WWE logo. I'm like, fuck this shit, and I sold it to somebody, and I started just having them made. So if you're ever wanting to get a belt with the legit logos on it, I got a guy.
You got the hookup.
He does some great work. So, again, as we start the show, I'll definitely want to know why you picked this, and we'll talk all that stuff out. But let's go down the line. Michael McClanahan once again on location from the. We know it's not a strip joint, Michael, but I'm going to call it that because it's just more fun. How are you tonight, bud?
I am fantastic. I hope you can hear me okay. I am thrilled to be here. Matt, great to have you on the program. Can't wait to grill you with questions, as you know I can.
And I already got the edit point from you. Thank you. I love you, buddy. I love you.
Oh, I figured out how to send them to you, so that's how we're going to be working. I'm a multitasker. If you
I know. Well, come on. Us
screen,
accountants, Michael, us accountants have to be multitasking. You should see my desk at work. I've got 17 different things laid out organizationally.
Well, you've heard about my legendary desk. Justin Davis bitches about it every week on Ringside Rant.
What, is it dirty?
He says my office is the pigsty.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems that there's that famous photo of Dave Meltzer in his office, and it looks like a bomb went off in there. Just picture that, where we just see less of the bomb mess. And
I don't see. It could be messy afterwards, but I have to believe that when Michael's doing actual work for audit and stuff, he's got stuff laid out the way he needs it.
I do. I absolutely do.
Exactly.
We
What
don't get
happens
to
to it
see
afterwards? I have an
that.
assistant. Like, I'm the controller of a design firm here in Rhode Island, and I have an assistant who files for me. So I just chuck them off in the file place, and she takes care of them afterwards. But Bama, I'm so glad to see you. I love it when we can have the opportunity to have you here wearing our old school cat asshole logoed shirt. I think what we need to do is you need to go over to Pro Wrestling Tees and get a shirt with the new logo, which we dropped last week. But I'm just throwing that out there. How are you doing, bud?
Now I'm wonderful. It's been a crazy weekend, but my elderly neighbors over here, sweetest people in the world, they had a spotlight, and they have their little adjustments on the bottom of it, and it wasn't staying on long enough. So I went over there, took 2 seconds, and clicked that switch over. And I go there today, and she gave me a big thing of brownies, homemade brownies.
Oh, I thought maybe she took her teeth out and gave you a gummy.
No,
Edit point.
Matt knew. Are they brown? Are they
brownies
special
are amazing.
brownies?
So if I'm not talking, this is why.
Okay, are they special brownies or?
We'll find out.
Right.
We'll find out together.
Henry, are you eating some special brownies right now?
No, I'm actually eating a bag of Cheez-Its that I didn't finish last night. How are you today, Frank?
You're freshly shaved.
I do this every year right around my birthday.
Oh, okay. Wait, is that coming up?
As we're recording this, as a crow flies, it's the day after tomorrow.
What are you going to do for my birthday?
Oh God, I can't keep. I'm working on my master's degree right now, and it's either food marketing or TGT. That's really where my head is, or work.
When is your birthday, Adam?
Whenever you want it to be, big boy.
Adam, I've just been working on trying to get you in your birthday suit. I could care what day it is,
After our night in Nashville, and you picked Henry to open up with today, I'm out of here.
Oh, sweet Jesus, Nashville! I can't wait for SummerSlam.
Well, speaking of SummerSlam and birthdays, don't forget whose birthday SummerSlam falls on.
Yes,
it's Brandy's,
Michael,
right?
Michael has reminded
And
me.
it's Swanson.
Brandy, my dear, how are you?
1 second.
She's 1 second. Oh, there's an edit point for you, but I'm not going to edit it. So, Brandy, how are you? You good?
I am doing good. As I mentioned before we went on air, we've had people over at my house cutting down a tree. And so they were just collecting the check that I had written out.
Oh, okay, yeah, you gotta. That's a cash course right there.
That is a
All
cash.
right, let's get this thing started. This is Madison Square Garden at its best. It's one of my favorite entranceways with the damn taxi hanging, and just it's one of my favorite like I love Cactus Jack and Triple H together, so I can't wait. Matt, what we typically do is do a countdown. So everybody out there that's going to watch along with us, it's going to be on the cock, as we say, pull up or out your cock.
Cock is out.
We prefer Frank so you can see it better.
No, boy, oh boy. It's going to, as we say, go hit WWE. I always just go to the search bar, Royal Rumble. The whole Royal Rumble series comes up. It's season 13, episode 1. There is only one episode in season 13. And Matt, is everybody ready? We're good?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right. Matt, count us down, brother.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play.
All right. And someone's going to ask for a time code, right?
Can I get a time code?
Did you see this now? So Peacock says it gives you a skip intro button. Is that new?
It's
It
always
doesn't
been
come
there.
up on everything.
It's sometimes, not always.
Who would
It
want
only
to
pops up on the ones that they don't like.
But one introduction we don't want to skip, Matt, is yours. So could you tell us how you got started? Could you kind of tell us how you got started with ad-free shows, what led you to the platform, what your favorite podcasts are, and just some general background on yourself to get us rolling here tonight?
You know, podcast-wise, a friend told me about something to wrestle in 2019, and it was literally the week that Bruce got rehired to WWE. It just so happened to be the week that I first heard of the podcast, and I listened to the first episode, and I was like, "This is pretty good." And I listened to a few more, and I just never stopped listening. You know, I've been a lifelong wrestling fan, and I have a very extremely strong memory, like way better than probably everybody I know. I'm not trying to, you know, pat myself on the back for that. I'm not like a brilliant guy or anything, but I have a really strong biographical memory, and like the nostalgia part of the podcasts works, and my love of wrestling. It's like, it so perfectly fits for me because they'll be talking about stuff from that I watched 20 years ago, and I remember it really well. And obviously Conrad and they do a great job describing, going through all that stuff. So after a while, I started, you know, listening to Tony's as well, and then Eric, and then I was, you know, whenever a new one came out, I would listen. The pandemic started at the same time as ad-free shows, and I ended up working from home, which is where I'm at, you know, right now, working from this spot. And so I'm isolated, and I'm able to. I'm usually able to work and listen at the same time, unless I'm in meetings all day or something.
Same.
It was just a great.
Enjoyable to see that you're broadcasting with us tonight from the inside of Jurassic Park.
It's right. These were left over from the decoration of my son's room.
They're not going to attack you during the show, are they?
Yeah.
I mean,
They get a lot of attention when I'm in business meetings, and I don't put up the blurred. If I don't blur it out.
well, we try to keep the blood to a minimum, so we don't need no dinosaur attack.
I think they're the friendly kind.
Real quick, guys. So for formatting reasons, even though this is the debut of Taz, who I feel WWE completely bumbled, we are going to push over to the Undisputed World Wrestling Federation Intercontinental Championship match, and that is going to be at 44 minutes, 25 seconds. So everyone move over to 44:25. I'll give everybody a second to do that. I need a second to do it myself.
Poor Kurt Angle, he's getting treated like Jeff Jarrett.
That's JEFFJARRETT to you.
Once we're set up, and before we get back to your excellent dissertation, Matt, on your podcast, I really enjoy it, and I think it's neat. When you say biographical, did you also have a photographic memory? Because my grandfather had photographic
Definitely.
memory.
Yeah.
I think
definitely
that's so
do.
cool. I wish I had inherited that from him. I inherited a lot of his good traits, but that's one unfortunately I didn't pick up, but I wish I had. Anybody's got a photographic memory, that's awesome.
I don't know if I'm involved in something, I just remember it really well.
Is everybody at that point, the 44-minute point?
I was at that point when we said play.
44 what again?
44-25.
Yeah, I am now.
Right. I noticed when I formatted this that unfortunately, because of some weird thing, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like they skip ahead like 15 minutes at about the 30-minute mark. So you're seeing the end of the match in the bottom of the screen as you're getting to the time code.
Did they cut out the bikini contest?
They did not.
Oh.
But for some strange reason, it, like when I was trying to time out the tag title match, I'm looking at the bottom of the screen and I see Cactus Jack and Triple H. I'm like, that's not this match.
Just the thumbnail.
What is wrong with you?
All right, is everybody there?
I'm here, yeah.
All right, so we'll go 3, 2, 1, play, and this is the Intercontinental title. Chris Jericho, Bob Hardcore Holly, and our girl Chyna.
No, as we get started. Go ahead, Frank.
No, I was going to say, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, as we get started, only because Henry brought up Cactus Jack, do you mind if I ask my overarching question I want everybody to kind of think about and have as a focal point for the show?
If you can give me just a second to put up the right banner, Money Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. So the overarching question I want everybody to think about, because I think we can all agree that 2000 was a year the Royal Rumble might have been better than the actual WrestleMania, and I want us all to think about how different could WrestleMania have looked if they had Mick Foley, after he's through that hellacious street fight earlier in the evening, what if instead of The Rock winning the Royal Rumble, what if Mick Foley is a surprise entrant and wins the Royal Rumble in 2000 and goes on to have his retirement match, the Hell in the Cell, not at No Way Out 2000, but as the main event of WrestleMania 2000. I know we might have to rebook something there, but that's what I'd like everybody to think about. Do you think that having Mick Foley win the Royal Rumble in the Garden would have been beneficial for the product in 2000 during the Stone Cold Steve Austin absence? Just something for us to ponder throughout the evening.
I'm gonna give you my answer right now. I can't imagine this show without Mick and Triple H. So
no, they would still have the street fight, but this is just having Mick pull double duty.
After the match, though, I don't think that he could go again.
Yeah.
If you keep the match the way it was, and I don't think he could go out there again and win the Rumble. I think they did. What I didn't like was his whole retirement, because again, newsflash, I was at No Way Out 2000 in Hartford, Connecticut, and they did a great job of sending him off. Like, standing ovation, half the crowd was crying. I will say I was a little misty-eyed. I loved Cactus, and then to just bring him back the next month for WrestleMania was stupid. I mean, what the fuck was the point of that? So I just,
Well, tweak the question a little bit, then. Tweak the question a little bit. Let's say tonight, instead of Triple H winning the retaining the World Heavyweight title, let's say Cactus Jack wins and takes the title with him to WrestleMania. If that match is his swan song and he wrestles whomever wins the Royal Rumble, does it make the career look better or worse? Because realistically, if we fast forward ahead to WrestleMania 2000 real quick, the main event of that match features Triple H, The Rock. Oh, wait a minute. Foley's in this match anyway.
Right. That's why I thought it was.
I have one question.
I'm saying have it be a one-on-one match though between Triple H and Foley, and do the Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania instead of No Way Out, and have The Rock and Big Show or The Rock and Jericho in a separate program. Because to be honest with you, I just don't like that Fatal 4-Way.
Oh, I thought it was horrible. WrestleMania 16 was not my favorite, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So if Mick Foley's in that match, does Eric Bischoff give us the ending before it happens, or what?
That was in 1999. We're in 2000.
Messes it up.
Yeah, WCW was around at this point. WCW's here. I get it. It makes sense.
I got your joke, Adam. That actually was a really good joke, Adam, because you look at the Mankind title win, and we can kind of say that the reason WWF is in the position it's in the early 2000s is partially because of that Mankind title win, and that being one of the tide-turning moments of the Monday Night Wars.
And newsflash, Phil, your take is still very much wrong.
Yeah, let's actually, well, Phil's not here. Can we get, because Mick Foley's a pivotal part of the show, can we get Matt's take on that heat-seeking moment? We don't have to play the clip, but let's get Matt's take on it.
On which?
So Matt, Phil Jackson was on here, and he pretty much said that Mick Foley should have never won the championship back in late '99 when he did, and that he was what was it? And Brandy, I can't hear you. What'd you say?
In Worcester?
Brandy, we call it a heat-seeking moment here because Brandy unleashed on him. To remind me, Brandy, exactly what he said.
He basically said that because they were such short title reigns, they devalued the title and really didn't matter or do anything in the long term, and that they should have kept the title with Rock Austin, which is an obscene, asinine idea still this many weeks later, Phil. And I'm glad that Matt had the same reaction that I did. It's like,
no, I mean, Foley was a huge star at this time. He was. Is Henry raising his hand? Am I supposed to call him?
Yes.
Finish your thought first. I can hold mine for just a second.
No, I mean, especially the first title win was obviously amazing, right? With Stone Cold coming out.
Yeah.
That whole era was great. I mean, I've never really viewed a title being devalued by its switching. I think a title gets devalued when you don't do anything with it. For instance, like current day Intercontinental Championship, which just sat on Nakamura for 6 months and it wasn't even defended. Well, what's the purpose of it then?
Exactly. This match is devaluing the Intercontinental Championship right now.
You what?
Yeah. I'm looking at it as, like I usually do. And China, I don't think she should be in this position yet.
No, I honestly, Adam, looking back, oh boy, show us the goods there, Hardcore. He's pulling on her pants. So I mean, we'll see that in Playboy anyway.
She's got good points and stuff, but there's just some stuff I don't think she's ready for yet.
No, I think she
was never ready, but she was unique. She had her fans. I mean, she was important.
I mean, honestly, China's a trailblazer. I mean, I
love China.
I've said that Jade Cargill is the China of this era.
Yeah, and hopefully Jade will turn out to be a better worker, just because people are better. Generally, people are better workers now.
Quick ad-free shows plug here for the Kurt Angle show recently, and I can't remember the exact episode, but I believe it was No Way Out 2002, where they were talking about China, and Kurt actually referenced the lovely and talented Miss Charlotte Flair, modern day China, in that she could compete with the men and have it be believable.
I don't see that.
I
have opinions on the intergender stuff too. If anyone wants to hear,
please.
Real quick, the match has ended. Jericho has retained his Intercontinental title. We do need to jump ahead to the street fight. No, actually, I apologize. We're going to move ahead to the tag team contest. So that's going to be.
You guys are trying to get rid of me quick here. Skip.
Never. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry.
And I didn't mean to start I'm just looking at it as like a work rate.
No, Adam, no need to apologize. I've said this many times on the show. I think as a worker, as a former and somewhat current worker, you bring a very unique perspective. And I think the topic of intergender wrestling is an excellent one to have a discussion about, because it is a modern and current topic. And I'd love to get Matt's perspective once we get to the time code.
Yeah, real quick. So everyone push to 59 minutes, 21 seconds.
You'll see what looks like a beautiful shot from inside that stolen New York City taxi cab of the ringside area from the tunnel.
Wait,
it actually looks magnificent.
This match is legit only 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
We didn't skip the tables match, right? I don't remember when that was.
That was earlier in the show.
You skipped it?
Uh-huh.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the time, and if the time's okay, maybe we'll just go back and watch it. It's cool.
We're not skipping Luna Vachon. I know that much.
All right. I forgot this match was so short, because then we're going to move to the street fight match and finish the show. So, is everyone there?
I got a commercial that's ending.
Yep, same. I have the same Peacock subscription that Matt does. I have the ads because I don't want to give any more of my money.
No,
It's fired out.
I got the APAs on their like. Are they supposed to be sliding into the ring right now? What's the time code?
59 minutes, 21 seconds.
Yeah, all right, I'm at 25 seconds.
All right, let's just go 3, 2, 1, and play. Matt, let's hear your take on the intergender.
I mean, I really don't have a problem with it if the story is being told correctly. It's not wrestling is not a who's bigger or who's stronger contest. Wrestling is supposed to be an art form. So I was at an Impact show, the WrestleMania weekend when WrestleMania was last time it was in New Jersey here, and one of the matches on the card was Tessa Blanchard versus what's the dude who got in trouble? The dick grabby guy.
There's so many of them.
No,
Joey
his gimmick
Ryan?
was Joey Ryan.
I was about to say Vince McMahon was at that show.
Matt, what'd you call him? The dick grabbing guy?
The dick grabby guy.
Yeah.
I stopped at that point, Henry. Thank you.
This was prior to him getting in trouble. He was still, a top guy in that world and still doing that gimmick and everything. And the best match of the card that night was Joey Ryan versus Tessa Blanchard because they put on a wrestling clinic and it was two people wrestling. It didn't matter that one was a man and one was a woman. It didn't come off like a man beating on a woman, which that's really my only reservation there is let's make sure there's not a domestic violence thing going on.
Yes.
But as an athletic contest, why can't there be, if Ricochet can have a match with, Brock or Mark Henry or a big ass dude and can compete, well, it's not about size. The body thing is I think that's perpetuated by people. I mean, our presumption is that notion is perpetuated by people like Vince and Bruce and people in power who think that it's all about the muscles and everything. I don't think that. I think that it's about the talent. I like guys like Adam Cole are, absolutely incredible in the ring. He's one of my favorite wrestlers probably ever because every match he's in is awesome. He's not a big guy. All right. How's it?
No, Matt, I got to be honest with you. I think that's one of the best takes we've ever had on a very complex subject by a guest. And Henry, your comments?
I'm going to go back for a second because when I tried to make this point before, I got talked over. To go back to talking about devaluing championships, the week before this pay-per-view, WCW would present the last ever sold-out pay-per-view. Going into that show, the champion was Bret Hart. But Bret Hart got hurt, and he couldn't wrestle. So they vacated the title and set up by, I believe if memory serves me right, because I didn't actually research this out. I'm kind of going from my memory.
Benoit
set up a tournament for the title. Benoit wins the championship, but the booker is Kevin Sullivan. And Chris Benoit will not do business of any kind with Kevin Sullivan. So Chris Benoit goes to Bill Bush, who is running WCW, because at this point, Eric Bischoff's been fired. Vince Russo's proven he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and says, fuck you, here's your ball back. I want to go play with Vince. And takes a bunch of people with him. And the title sits vacant for a week, and they don't even recognize that Benoit won the WCW World Heavyweight title. That title would sit vacant for another week until Sig wins it the following week's Nitro on the 24th, and then it's immediately vacated again. And this would become like a seesaw title for the entire year 2000. I think we reached the end of the World Tag Team title match while I was going through my rant.
Yeah, we did. We need to go to 1 hour, 9 minutes, 55 seconds. And this is going to be that classic world title match.
But to finish my point, I think Phil's argument doesn't hold water, given that the biggest of the big name talent that was in WCW in the year 2000 took the WCW World Heavyweight title, which has a prestige that goes back to the National Wrestling Alliance, and basically turned it into a ping pong ball.
Well, I mean, David Arquette won the damn thing, for Christ's sake.
Now, David Arquette was not the worst WCW World Heavyweight champion ever.
Vince Russo was.
I don't even know that I'd say Vince Russo was.
Who are you talking about then?
Well, give me a minute. I want to go through the list of champions, make sure I got this right. What was the time code, Frank?
1 hour, 9 minutes, 55.
55. Okay, I'm not quite there yet.
I'm kind of with Matt. We might go back and watch that tag match because it was fucking good.
Do we want to do that before the Royal Rumble match?
No, we're gonna follow the suit here. When the show ends, we'll look at the time and just go do it. If
Okay.
it's not in time. Is everyone at that time code?
Yeah.
All right, guys. In 3, 2, 1, play with Earl Hebner holding up the belt that I'm having custom made for myself because it's so fucking beautiful. Yeah. So Henry, let me know when you. I really want to know who you think the worst.
I'm actually going back through the list. Give me just a moment.
So Matt, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, so you're in New Jersey. How do you say your last name?
Malanconico. It's completely phonetic, no tricks. It's just long.
Malanconico.
Malanconico.
Yeah, I ain't even trying that.
Malanconico. Okay.
Malanconico.
All right. I've always just been like Matt M. Matt.
Yeah, that's kind of why I just go by it like that.
Now, are you lifelong New Jerseyan? Is that how you say it?
Well, technically, I was born in. I mean, not technically. Actually, I was born in New York State, Glens Falls, New York, home of Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh!
But my parents are both from this same area of New Jersey that I still live in. And shortly after I was born, they moved back to. They kind of lived in the boonies for a while before they had kids. And then they moved back to. I mean, I'm in the New York metropolitan area, so I don't remember living in New York. I was less than 1 year old, so I've always lived in this area. It's Bergen County. I'm 6 miles from Manhattan.
All right, I don't even want to. I mean, good Lord, honestly, something that came to mind was 6 miles from Manhattan. I can't imagine what things were like on September 11th for you.
Weird. I was in college, and I went to Seton Hall, which is in South Orange, New Jersey, which borders Newark, which is that was one of the planes left from that airport.
Yeah.
And when I left campus that day, because everybody just stopped what they were doing and went home.
That's what we did. Yeah.
As I was driving back, I could see the smoke and everything. So so now on September 11th, usually I can see the blue lights from wherever I'm at.
That's one of those moments. I think every generation has a moment like that. I mean, my grandfather used to talk about, what happened, what was going on. He could give you a minute by minute account the day of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
My father could give you a minute by minute account of the day that, JFK was assassinated. I can give you a minute by minute account of what was going on that day. For me, I mean, Howard Stern to this day is the man that told me it happened.
I listened to the Stern when I was in the car. I remember it well because, as I previously disclosed, I have a very good autobiographical memory, so I could probably tell you everything, every moment of that particular day.
It was just a horrible. And again, I'm not trying to sensationalize it, but it's one of those things where, my dad has done a lot of research about JFK, and he loved JFK. He was beloved by JFK. And I use JFK, but my dad grew up in that 60s era where he can tell you what happened, what was going on the day with Martin Luther King and the day of Robert Kennedy and even Malcolm X. So it's like every generation has that unfortunate tragedy, and I'm actually rewatching right now a show called The Looming Tower. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of that, where it actually leads up to of how the CIA bumbled information to the FBI, and essentially talking about how they could have prevented it. But
can I make 2 points on this discussion, and then we can switch to something else if you want. But I have 2 different points. I'm gonna circle back to 9/11, but I want to start with, for me, and this is a weird thing. I was 6 at the time. I'm not saying, I know sometimes I joke about my age here, but I'm being 100% serious this time. I was 6 at the time, so I don't remember it. So my defining day that I actually remember was the day I got sent home from work because of COVID. That is, the COVID-19 is what has impacted my generation. But September 11th impacted me in a very different way, but I have to go to a different year, because September 11th, 2020, at 12:30 12:36 in the afternoon. I'm working through audit work papers. It's a normal Friday. My mom calls, and that's when my grandmother, that I've talked about repeatedly on the show, that was when I found out that she passed away. So September 11th impacts me differently from a different year, but still very much have feels from it. Might not be the most appropriate thing to disclose, but I thought it was appropriate given the conversation. But I wanted to more focus on how, like, for me, the thing that defined my like generational moment, it's weird to think it's the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, right. I mean, even us, like, something that really impacted me is now, Matt, is it Mets or Yankees for you?
Yankees.
Okay. So I am in Rhode Island, so therefore I guess we're mortal enemies, right? One of the defining moments for me that kind of really actually, changed my career trajectory was the bombings in the
race.
At the race.
Marathon.
Yeah. The marathon. And I've spent a time. I moved to Boston I lived in Boston for a while, and like that was. Is this where, real quick? This is where he fucks up his leg, right?
Oh.
Is that where he gets the? Because they're doing the spot now with the pallet, right? Isn't this where he gets it all cut up?
I think so.
Hey Frank, one real quick, something to think about. When 9/11 happened, me and you were in high school. Money Mike was sitting in front of the TV with a juice box watching SpongeBob.
Okay,
I was in college.
It was Blues.
I was college too. I was working on my associates then. Yeah.
I was a senior.
It was Blues Clues. You won Cultured Swine. It was on every morning at 9 a.m.
You guys always talk about
the second you said that.
I'm in a Cultured Swine. I live in Alabama. What the hell?
You assume he has culture. That's awful bold.
Matt, another thing too. Are you Jets or Giants?
Giants. Yankees, Giants.
Henry, you know who I picked that saying up from? You.
What about I don't know if you go basketball, but what are the Nets?
I do not watch basketball, but I am a Knicks fan, not a Nets fan. I don't know why. I don't know how that happens, but I watched like the Ewing and Starks era.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, when they were up against Jordan all the time.
You might have answered this question already, but I think Money Mike drowned it out. Are you a Giants fan or a Jets fan?
It's Giants for sure. That I probably, I don't know about it anymore, but I probably football was probably my number one fandom for a long time. The Eli years were like pretty tremendous for the Giants, and a couple Super Bowls and everything.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to tell. There's Brandy, the Patriots fan. But see,
that's where he got his leg, I think, just now.
Yeah, I see it right there because it's bloody as hell. I will tell you this. While I am a huge Sox fan and I have an affinity and love for Boston, and would call myself a Bruins fan, I am very casual with hockey. I am a card-carrying member of Tennessee.
Yeah, we know.
So
we know.
I was very thankful when Eli Manning was able to stop the vaunted Patriots.
Everybody was
from being 19 and fucking
Not
out.
everybody.
Yeah. The year after that, they beat the undefeated Patriots, I went to the Giants away game in Pittsburgh, and all the Pittsburgh, we were all wearing our Giants stuff.
Of course.
And all of the Pittsburgh fans, they would come up to us and thank us for stopping Tom Brady because he had been beaten up on Ben, for the past however many years.
I've got to interject here for 1 second because you guys are talking about Pittsburgh, and I'm filming on location tonight at the casino, and Terry Bradshaw is about 2 rooms down from me doing a live show.
Yeah.
I hate the Steelers just because they were in Tennessee's division for so long.
Don't say that too loud around me right now. I'm on a live.
Money Mike will get himself beaten up. Don't do that.
I won't say that. I won't. I would just say that they were rival Oilers, a rival of the Titans for a while. So
yeah, if you want Money Mike to make it to the next edition of Top Guy Theater, we need to be pleasant about the Steelers.
I'll tell you. Let me tell you something about this bitch behind me. Okay, the minute I do something. The minute I'm doing something, she's got to go outside. So y'all talk amongst yourself. Enjoy this match while I take the bitch out I love her, but she, of course, you're right.
I thought you were talking about Henry. My bad. I should have looked first.
I love you too, Adam. You kiss your mother with that mouth.
So I'll be right back, guys, while I take out the fucking dog.
Hey, and Adam, just to clarify, that uncultured swine comment, I learned that from Henry because he's called me that a lot of times.
Well, it's very
I'm from Alabama.
What'd you say?
I'm from Alabama. I don't know what that shit means. Them words are too big.
You don't know what the word swine means?
Yeah, ain't that a donkey or a pig or something?
Pig.
Is a pig.
Swine flu.
I think.
Let's talk about that. You guys like talking about 9/11 and fucking COVID. Let's talk about swine flu now too. Keep bringing it
How old
down.
do you think I am?
Sorry, man. We're not trying to bring it down. If you want me to cheer you up, I can recite some of my Charlotte Flair
No.
poetry.
No.
Frank left. That means I'm in charge till he comes back. You start doing that, I'm going to kick you out of here.
I wouldn't, but Matt, I do have a serious question because you talked about having a biographical memory. So we could probably get some good answers with this. What's your earliest wrestling memory that you have?
Probably seeing Hogan on Saturday, Sunday morning. You know, they used to have shows at noon on like Fox and the local Fox. I had a lot of the trading cards when I was really little. I can tell you exactly when my dedicated fandom started.
Please do.
Which was SummerSlam 93. That was the first time I watched a live pay-per-view. And from that moment on, I didn't miss one for a decade. I, of course, have seen, everything, going backwards too, because
And Cactus Jack just decked Hugo.
that's what we do. This is a great match. But yeah, that was when I really became dedicated. Was SummerSlam 90? SummerSlam 93.
I think we just passed. I apologize for cutting you off. My favorite moment of the pay-per-view so far, they were outside the ring, and Hebner gave the barbed wire wrap 2x4 to Hugo Savinovich, and he looks back at him with that, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this?" look, and just kind of sits it down. It's got to be. I won't say that's the best moment of the pay-per-view, but that kind of made me chuckle a little.
Yeah, I love how Cactus Jack, he's not sloppy, but he doesn't have to look crisp for the stuff he does. And when he doesn't have to try, and he's just such a good worker, man.
Yeah. And this
he doesn't have to look crisp. He doesn't have to look performed.
In this match, it was very believable that Mick could have won this match.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of that these days.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's awesome. I love it.
I think you could make the case for him winning the match and holding the title till WrestleMania.
Or Triple H sneakily getting it back. Triple H could have sneakily gotten it back at any point prior to Mania.
Because with the Man Helmsley regime, that would have worked really well. Now, what was your favorite, as we're looking at his Cactus Jack persona here, Matt, what was your favorite of the three faces of Foley? Or I guess you could say the four, because he also went just as Mick Foley, and some people prefer that.
What is your favorite, and why is it Dude Love?
It's not Dude Love. Dude Love is 4 out of 4. It had its moment.
I think that's on everybody's list. He's 4.
Yeah, no, probably Mankind, because he was such a strong opponent for Undertaker when he first showed up in WWF, which I don't know if we saw that so much. He was a legitimate. I mean, he even beat him a few times, I think.
Yeah, and that was where the origins of the Kane storyline actually tied back to Mankind and the Paul Bear heel turn. So we made
all that stuff was great, and then of course he became such a popular babyface, and the stuff with The Rock and his comedic abilities. Like Conrad always says, I mean, Mick really, I don't know if he gets enough credit, because everything he ever did, he was really, really good at, so probably Mankind,
Yeah, because look how far he went with Mankind, how deep he went with him, man. I mean, just different angles he went with him. That's just one character, and he did this shit with another character.
Yeah, and I've read Foley's books too, and they're phenomenal. I've read a lot of the wrestlers' autobiographies.
I'd love to read it. If I could read, I'd love to.
What are some of your favorite, just as a sidebar here, Matt, what are some of your favorite, other than the Mick Foley books, what are some of your favorite wrestling autobiographies, because for me, JR's Under the Black Hat's got to be up there. But I know everyone has their own preferences.
Yeah, I have not read JR's, and maybe this is terrible of me to say, but I don't think I'm ever gonna, just because I listen to him talk for 2 hours every week as it is. So how is he not going to cover everything that's in the book one way or the other? My favorite books were Foley's. My other favorite books were Jericho's.
Jericho's books are great.
Really funny. He makes a lot of like pop culture references that I dig. And, he's just a dude, so that's how the book comes off.
I think.
Do
you realize
those are probably my favorites?
We never did map it.
Why don't we at this point hold off until the Royal Rumble match, because that's going to be about 50 minutes.
I do have one question.
Go ahead.
Are we a fan of the hard camera being opposite of the aisleway and the ramp, or do we like it how they do it?
I think this was the only place they ever did it, because if you look at some of the old WWF stuff, you don't see this angle. They have it set different. I think Survivor Series. It was one of the Survivor Series pay-per-views they covered.
WrestleMania they did here,
and they did a SummerSlam too.
Survivor Series 11, they did not use this entrance. The last time they used this entrance on TV was Raw of 2009.
But yeah, they alternated back and forth. I like this one a little bit better because it makes for some unique angles and shots, especially since the hard camera almost never goes down the aisle like that anywhere else. But
yeah, I like it. For these special events, I wouldn't want it to always be like that, or then it wouldn't be special.
And then one
I
more
like
question.
it for when they're at Madison Square Garden because it makes it seem different. And WWE at Madison Square Garden is always very unique. And I'll let Henry cover that more later during his map at the history of the.
I basically wrote a dissertation paper in our format notes because I discovered a neat quirk with my keyboard.
Oh, there's that spot with his knee. Drives me.
Yeah, that looked bad.
I do have one more quick question.
Please.
How hard is the hard camera? I mean, have y'all seen how hard it is?
Extremely hard.
Jesus Christ.
At the last pay-per-view, I got hit in the head with a hard camera.
What about that Tom and Jack?
I don't know if this was going to come up in the questioning, but are we supposed to talk? I was at this show. Is that
really?
Please talk about that, please.
Is it this one?
Well, that's something I wanted to ask you. Holy shit, he's got the ticket stub.
I dug it out.
Cool.
Can I read it? Can I read the stuff?
Yes. Please do.
Go ahead.
So I do know. So this is the first pay-per-view that I attended ever, and I've gone to a bunch over the years. So I sat in the very last row of the 400 section at the Garden, the old Garden before they remodeled it, of course. The very last fucking row of the arena is where I sat for the show, and I was 17. The ticket, it was section 421 row G. The ticket cost $33.
Oh my God.
The convenience fee was $6.85. Madison Square Garden, 1-800-COLLECT presents the Royal Rumble. No laser pens. Sunday, January 23rd, 2000, 7:45 p.m. start. I went with my high school girlfriend at the time. She was also kind of into wrestling. She loved The Rock and that sort of stuff. And yeah, we were there. And you know what's really funny is that was 22 years ago, and I was in the last row. And tomorrow I'm flying to Orlando, and I'm going to Revolution, and I'm sitting in the first row.
Oh,
wait a minute, you're ringside?
That's a cool story. I'll look for you tomorrow when I'm watching the pay-per-view. What section are you?
So it's section 6. Unfortunately, the camera-wise, this is how I've been describing it. If it was a WWE show, I would be sitting behind Michael Cole.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got you.
Honestly, would you take a picture and tweet it to me or hit me?
Yeah, no, I'll be taking pictures for sure. Hell yeah.
So, that's going to... So, again, a couple of questions I always ask, so I'll lead to this, is you talking about you... We're at this show. Can you tell me a couple of other iconic It doesn't even have to be iconic. I want to hear what
The
other
shows I was at.
I'm
please,
very
please
open.
go through the
I mean,
list.
I whipped
I've
out
been to
my
some-
ticket stubs a couple weeks ago. So
I've been to
it's all
some
good.
big ones. I mean, living in the New York area, right?
I'm curious why you chose this one to be the first one. Was there something special about this one? That
From
was
the
that
Royal
said, hey,
Rumble.
this will be my first one.
It was my first one. I don't think I ever rewatched it after just the being there was the only time I watched it. I remember the title match that we're watching now being spectacular, and the tables match I think was kind of maybe when they were just dipping their toe in the tables match waters.
It was the
And-
first one, actually, I believe.
And the Taz debut was huge. I know you guys decided to cut all that out, but the Taz debut was really fucking awesome, and the tables thing was awesome. How hot were those tag teams back then?
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't a performer on this show that just said, hey, I'm going to this show because Triple H is on it. Was there anything like that?
No, I was just like, Attitude Era. I was just all
Holy
in
shit,
fan.
they're here. I'm going. It's pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the
I was
Attitude
the same
Era
way.
the peak of your fandom, or was that at another point in time?
No, I would say right now is the peak of my fandom. I watched religiously from '93 to through WrestleMania 20, and then I stopped watching for about like a while. I didn't rejoin until 2010, and the reason why I came back was because Bret Hart was going to appear on Raw.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and that turned into him and Vince, that whole storyline with him and Vince and Mania. And that was also I believe that was the same night that Impact decided to go live on Monday against
with Hulk
Raw.
Hogan and Eric Bischoff.
Yeah. So, I've closed the gap. Ad-free shows has helped with covering everything, and also having the network. I went back and watched everything. I basically missed the prime of John Cena's run. Is the
You
era
didn't
where
miss much.
the Ruthless Aggression era is where I was least. But now I'm all in on WWE and AEW. AEW is friggin' phenomenal. That card tomorrow night is insane. I'm so pumped for it.
I can't wait for the dog collar match between Punk and MJF. I said this on last
the
episode.
title match, which is awesome, is like I'm looking forward to that like the fourth most. That's how good of a card it is tomorrow.
You know what I think could be the show stealer is Moxley and Bryan.
Certainly, I love Bryan Danielson,
MJF and Punk, right?
MJF and Punk.
The
Cole and
that
Hangman.
ladder match. Every match
It's
is
loaded. And last night they added a trios match with the House of Black too. I didn't think I was going to see those guys.
Yeah. So I was at the Dynamite where he debuted, where Murphy showed up. Well, what's his name now? Matthews, right?
Buddy
But-
Matthews.
Just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So in Bridgeport. Yeah. And I will say that. So. Unfortunately, the TGT watchers / listeners are probably getting sick of me saying this, but like the pandemic era is kind of where I took my break because it was so bad.
Yeah.
Well, I would say WWE was so bad, and I focused more on AEW. And really, I was getting all the pay-per-views before it because I was really interested, and then they launched Dynamite. I have every episode of Dynamite still on my DVR. Like I've not. It's just
I haven't missed a second of AEW in its existence.
Yeah, me either. And it's I really think it's phenomenal. In fact, I was at we had top. What you didn't go to Top Guy Weekend, Matt, right?
No, I didn't, and it was awful.
Don't feel bad. I'm in the same boat with you, man.
Yeah.
You were supposed to go, wasn't you, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, I don't even remember Rock getting involved there. Wow. I had my tickets to. I had my tickets to All Out. I had my tickets for the Top Guy Weekend, everything. And Hurricane Ida destroyed New Jersey and destroyed my house. And I had I had 3.5 feet of water in my basement on September 1st, and All Out was September 5th, I think. So I didn't make it that weekend, and I was fucking devastated.
Please tell me you were at least able to sell your tickets for a fat profit.
I did sell the ticket. So I was supposed to go with my friend. He went without me because
I met him on the bus. I remember talking to him about it.
Yeah.
Who is it?
My friend's name is Justin. So he's not part of Patreon, but he me and him were on the bus the bus that was organized.
Yeah, I would have met you then. We would have. We would see
Right.
what you want to do.
But my friend, I said, I think it was Timmy that was organizing.
Yeah, the filter free and Timmy C.
Yeah.
organized.
So I was like, listen, I'm not going to be able to go, but we already paid for the bus. Can my friend still just use the bus? And he was like, of course. So my friend still hitched a ride with you guys and went to the show, but I wasn't there.
Yeah, we chatted on the way to the show, and he kind of caught me up on what was going on. And
Yeah. It was brutal, man. I actually had a worker. I actually don't want to talk about it that much. I had a worker here today. He's got to fix some concrete outside my house because we really got fucked up. It was bad.
we can tell you what happened on the bus if you want to hear it real quick.
What
What's
happened
that?
on the bus?
Frank sent me in for candy, and I lost my wallet.
Oh, that's right.
You had to get into a car with Sorensen and go back and get it, and you somehow ended
And he
up
about
coming back
killed
with
me.
Josh Chernoff too.
This is why at the next Top Guy weekend, I'm going to be
No.
with a big stick as the chaperone to keep everyone in line.
Don't worry,
your-
Tom
with
Mandic
your
won't
what?
be there, so
What?
you ain't gonna have a problem, okay?
Whoa.
Matt, what
Yeah.
though? Any other? So I'm trying to think of. Were you at? Did you go to WrestleMania 20?
No, I'll tell you what I went to. I actually stopped watching after WrestleMania 19, but I did watch WrestleMania 20. But I hadn't watched the build up or anything to it. So the things that pushed me, you didn't ask this question, but I'm going to answer it. The things that pushed me away from wrestling were, number one, I hated how they handled the invasion. Number two,
Yeah, that was bad. No, that was
I
bad.
agree.
Yeah.
That was very poorly booked.
Number two, I was really fucking mad at Stone Cold for walking out because he was my favorite. And when he came back, I was really mad at how he was booked with Scott Hall and the NWO. I fucking hated that. And I don't know if anyone's ever had the take I'm about to take. I was so fucking mad at Brock Lesnar for missing the Shooting Star Press and ruining WrestleMania that I stopped watching.
I never thought of that. That's
I was
man,
so
gotta say,
I
that's
fucking
such a-
hated that. I hated that happened. And enough was enough. I needed a break. So what shows was I at? I was at King of the Ring 2001 and at I think it was called Continental Airlines Arena at the time.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
was
yeah.
Kurt Angle and Shane, the street fight.
Oh, where he went through the glass.
Yeah.
King of the Ring.
I was at the Raw at the Garden when Triple H came back after his injury.
Oh
that's
my
awesome.
God.
After
That's
the quad
cool.
injury.
Absolutely incredible. That was probably the biggest pop I've ever been a part of. I was at another. I was at tons of Raws and SmackDowns at the Garden. There was a Raw where Jericho was a huge heel. It might have been when he was he in that Un-Americans group?
Yep, he was.
And he was shit talking on the mic, and there was a very loud, clear, long chant of "Shut the fuck up," which MJF now gets weekly, but back in 20 years ago, that was unheard of. And we were so fucking excited to see how that was going to come across on TV. We had taped it. So after the show, we flew home, popped the tape in, and they fucking went to commercial. And they cut it out.
Oh.
So Jericho forced them to go to commercial. I was at SummerSlam 2002, which was an amazing card. And had
You
the main
son
event,
of a bitch. You were not.
Brock and Rock.
The return of
And-
Shawn Michaels.
Oh my God, the return of Shawn Michaels. Hopefully you'll ask me about my Mount Rushmore later.
Please. We can do that now. Actually, would you
Yeah,
tell
Oh,
no,
I
me?
want to hear about the shows. Hang on a second.
Yeah. That was undoubtedly the best comeback return match ever, or performance. Triple H is he'll never get enough credit because of, the corporate side of him, but he's an all-time in-ring guy. And the Brock Rock. So I don't know how well this information got out to the world, but the crowd that night was hating the Rock because we knew he was leaving.
Yep.
Hating the Rock. If you watch the DVD or the streaming, they edited that audio.
You know what's funny, man?
That
If I
pisses
can
me off.
Didn't they do the same thing with Royal Rumble 92 when Sid eliminates Hogan?
Yeah, that would make sense. Same idea, same concept.
I went to Raw 3 years ago in Birmingham, so what's up?
All right.
You know what's funny, Matt? If I can interject just for 1 second on your comments on The Rock, have you watched the Ruthless Aggression series on Peacock?
I watched the first half that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
There's an
same thing. I haven't watched the second half yet.
Yeah.
In the second half, there's an episode on Hollywood Rock, and they actually go in depth on that Brock Rock match and talk about the crowd response and how he utilized it. So you might wanna check.
It's on my to-do list. I just didn't do it yet.
I just wanted to mention that just because I thought it was interesting. But I have to say, before you continue, it seems like you've been at so many like iconic moments in Madison.
That's what you get when you live in the area I live in, you know?
Yeah, I just think that's awesome. Do you have a favorite moment of all of them that stands out?
The Triple H return moment was pretty awesome. Seeing Shawn Michaels' return match was pretty awesome. I also went to. I've been to 2 WrestleManias, and I did not. Brandy, I did not go to 20, which of course was. I did not go to 10. I was pretty young. I did not go to 20, and I also did not go to. I think it was 29, which was at MetLife Stadium.
Yep.
Did not go to that one, which was not a very good show. But I did go to. I actually went to the last 2 WrestleManias that you could attend, which were last year in Tampa and 2019, which was at MetLife. Because 2020 there were no fans.
Right.
I went to SmackDown 2 years ago in Birmingham.
Fucking guy.
I have actually, Henry, you go first, and then I'll ask my question.
Yeah, I know, and I have an answer to your question buried in what I just said. So
it's just depressing. He's gonna do these great shows, and I'm just like, yeah. I got to see Bobby Roode face some guy. I don't even remember who he wrestled.
Yeah. If it makes you, I've spent some time in Alabama in my life. I actually, my mom's sister, spent most of her adulthood there. So I visited there when I was a kid. It was pretty racist.
You remember what?
That's a good tourist advertisement.
Sorry, I keep talking over people.
That's
we want to know you, please.
I'm used to that. People do that a lot. So
you just have that face.
Yeah.
I said the same thing in Jacksonville.
What's it like to actually have an experience for a wrestling event inside Madison Square Garden?
Pretty great. Also for concerts, because I'm also a big concert goer. I think I've been to like 400 concerts.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I've been to
Bernie in Birmingham.
I've been to I've been to many concerts at the Garden, and the Garden is the best venue to see a concert at.
What's your preferred concert genre, man?
I like rock music. The first band I ever really loved was Metallica. I like the jam band world a lot. I don't know how familiar you guys are with bands like Fish or Mo or Humphreys McGee.
Yeah, I don't.
But those are the type of bands. They're like the Grateful Dead, where they play different show. They play a different set every night. You go see AC/DC, they play the same show every night. But if you go see Fish, they improvise a lot. So you can go see them 4 nights in a row at the Garden, and they won't play any of the same songs. So I've seen Fish 70 times or something like that.
Henry, what was your question before? I apologize if I cut you off.
Well, he kind of answered it a little.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. The Gardens, it's magical. It feels like when you're there. There's a show at the Garden right now. My friend Adam, my friend who you met on the bus, he is at the Garden right now with his daughter to see that special house show that they have tonight.
Now, I want to deviate from the Garden for 1 second, because you said something I thought was very interesting. You attended last year's WrestleMania, which was the first WWE live event with fans in attendance.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that
experience,
specifically, what the energy was like? Maybe talk about the rain delay. I'd love to hear anything you have from that experience.
I'm happy to tell you all about it.
Please do.
Well, first, very, very briefly, I want to talk about WrestleMania 35.
Absolutely.
I was and am such a big Becky fan. The Bloody Becky moment is the top thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so psyched to see her win. But the Kofi win that night was one of my favorite moments ever, because I wasn't sure if they were going to give it to him or not. I've always loved him in New Day. and they're probably the most successful faction ever.
Oh, absolutely.
And that moment was amazing. Also, that was like an 8-hour event, and that match was like halfway through, and we were fucking dead after that. Nobody had anything left after that. But so WrestleMania, last year was 37 in Tampa.
Yep.
So my parents bought my parents also live in New Jersey. My parents bought a condo in Clearwater, which is very close to Tampa.
Oh, I love Clearwater, Florida. Yeah.
And
I've been to Raymond James to see the Titans. So
I've been to Raymond James to see the Giants play a couple times.
Yeah, so I love it. I like it down there. It's really cool.
So it was still very pandemic-y. So my normal wrestling buddy, he wasn't going to go. The guy we were just talking about. So I went with my dad. Very tight with my dad for just about everything in my life except wrestling. He never watched wrestling, never cared about it, and was the type of person who never understood why anybody would like it. But he was excited that they bought this new place in Florida, and it was he also hadn't done anything in a year and a half, right, with the pandemic or whatever. So we went together. And actually, my dad passed away a few months ago, so that was like kind of the last special thing that we did together. And that came out of nowhere, and that was my whole fourth quarter of 2021 was fucking terrible because my dad passed away 2 weeks after the flood we were just talking about. I was supposed to go to the Dynamite that was called Grand Slam that was at Arthur Ashe Stadium, which was a really big show.
Yep.
But that was the week that my dad passed away. So I didn't in a span of 2 weeks, I missed going to All Out and Grand Slam for those two shitty things. So we're at WrestleMania, and when the live show opened, all the wrestlers and Vince were on stage, right? And Vince welcomed everybody.
Yep.
Prior to the cameras being turned on, the whole roster slowly made their way out to the stage with no fanfare, no TV production. And it was the most amazing feeling. Everybody was every single person was crying, It wasn't just about the wrestling. It was like we have all been through this horrible year and change of the pandemic, and there were times when it felt so bad, and things are never going to get back to normal. And this was a glimmer of hope. And we were chanting 100 million different things. Welcome back. You still got it. Things like that. And the New Day guys, they were so fucking amped up. They were running. I mean, that stage was enormous. They were running back and forth. Big E was fucking hyping everybody up. It was like the most hyped up I have ever been. It was I think my dad was crying, and this is the first time he's ever even watching wrestling. He doesn't have the affinity for it that we do. And it was just so fucking special. And then they went live. Vince made his speech. They played the intro video with the Pirates and everything. Somebody sang the national anthem or whatever. And then they made the fucking announcement that there was going to be a rain delay. And it was like we were on the highest of highs, and somebody just pulled the rug right out from under us.
Of any WrestleMania, why is it this one?
It was unbelievable. And we had to leave our seats and go into the concourse, because the light
was lightning, right? Yeah.
And it's wet and shitty out, right? Actually, earlier in the day, me and my dad went to the Yankees. The Yankees happened to be playing the Rays that afternoon, so we actually went to the
preseason,
Yankees.
Right? It was preseason.
Sorry?
No. Was it regular season then?
No, it was like the first week of the regular season. Yeah.
Okay.
April.
So you went to Trop, right?
We went to the Trop. Saw that, and then we just hopped right over to the stadium. But the weather was really bad all weekend. But the baseball stadium's indoors.
Yeah.
So that didn't matter. So
Remember
there's
when we had baseball?
Your seats are wet, and I know.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
How funny! I'm supposed to go. I'm talking a lot, guys. So feel free to cut.
No, this is what we want.
We love this.
I'm going.
Come on here and are timid, Matt, and won't say anything, and we have to. The fact that you're just telling us.
Yeah,
no, it's exciting.
This is great.
Easiest show we've ever done.
Yeah,
this is great. Please keep.
I love talking about my wrestling stuff.
You even have me quiet, so you're doing a damn good job.
I'm actually returning to Clearwater next week for a scheduled vacation, and I was gonna go see the Yankees play spring training for the first time, but guess what? That's probably not gonna happen now.
Brandy and I had tickets. Brandy was coming out to Boston because we've got Dynamite on April 6th at Gannis Arena. So the Red Sox are playing a day game against the Orioles. It fit right into the schedule, and that just fucking went out the window. It's like, guys, you make millions of dollars to play a fucking sport. Let's not. I don't want to get into it.
Oh my God, I have a great story about Christian at the Garden.
Okay,
he just came running out. I'm not going to use any names. So, I was not present for this, but during the peak of the Attitude Era, there was a house show at the Garden. Edge and Christian were huge baby faces, whatever point in time it was. And a couple of my friends were there, the guy we were talking about earlier, and another friend who is, at the time, a very overweight fellow. And that unique entrance at the Garden where the talent comes out that we were just discussing, for whatever reason, because it was not a televised event, you could an attendee could actually walk in front of it because we were not disrupting any TV production. So, you know what? I'm getting that part wrong. Edge and Christian used to come out through the crowd, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So they were standing, in the concourse, like trying to get in and out of their seat or something. And they happened to be standing where Edge and Christian were going to be entering from in the crowd. And my fat friend was in Christian's way. And again, Christian, huge baby face at the time. Christian yells at him, "Get out of my way, you fat fuck." and this is a huge baby face at getting yelled at by this guy at Madison Square Garden. So that story always comes up because that was humorous back in the day.
I have another just on your wrestling fandom question, if you don't mind. And this conversation, Matt, just so you know, has been fantastic. One of my favorites. And I want to ask, did you prefer? Because I went to house shows and TV tapings, some pay-per-views. Did you prefer going to a televised event or a house show more? Because it seemed like the vibes at the shows were very different. So just to kind of get your thoughts on that.
I mean, I'd probably prefer a pay-per-view. You're going to get the best match quality, at least back when I was going to so many shows. I went to a couple house shows, not that many. I specifically went to one because Hogan was on it. Like late WWE Hogan, post NWO Hogan. And I probably went to a couple at the Garden. Not memorable. I couldn't tell you anything about. I could tell you a lot about the Raws and the pay-per-views I went to, but not really the house shows. My friend really wanted me to go tonight, but we're literally flying to Orlando tomorrow morning. I'm like, I'm not going to go to the Garden and then go to another wrestling show the next night.
So let me ask you a quick question on because how did you get ringside seats?
Well, me and my friend have become very skilled at ticket acquisitions over the years. We've gone to many wrestling shows, and as I mentioned, I've gone to many concerts. So, just experience for using the ticketing systems. He tried when they went on sale. I didn't even know. We did not discuss going to the show because it's in Florida. Mm-hmm. We don't live in Florida. He just happened to. He's always curious. This friend of mine. He likes to get a feel for the markets and stuff. So even if he's not going to a show, he might attempt to try to get tickets. So that's what he did. First row popped up. He bought them, sent me a screenshot, and he said, "I guess we're going to Orlando." And I replied and said, "Well, I guess we are."
Please, I'm assuming pretty expensive.
No, maybe $200.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Not terrible at
I think
all.
I paid the same to go. We went to Survivor Series this past Survivor Series and paid like $400. It was fucking terrible.
Well, yeah, can pay me to go to Survivor Series now.
Where was Survivor Series?
Barclays.
In the Barclays. So what do you
Oh.
prefer? This is a venue question, Matt. What do you prefer more, going to the Garden, or what do you think of the Barclays Center? Because that's kind of become, in recent years, WWE's new home base.
I don't know how familiar any of you are with travel in the New York City area, but getting from New Jersey to New York City and the various boroughs can be really difficult and time consuming. And it very, very, very much was for this past Survivor Series. It took me several hours to get there and several hours to get home. And the show, other than Becky and Charlotte, I really did not enjoy the show that much. So I vowed to never go back or at least not go back for a WWE show. The Garden is superior, also much easier to get to. I did go to a couple of takeovers at Barclays, and those are always spectacular.
Yeah, not
So
much
just
anymore.
to piggyback off of, because I have traveled into what makes Madison Square Garden so much easier to get to is it's literally a transportation
Yes,
hub. You can
Penn
take
Station.
a train, you can take the subways right there, and you just have to go up a couple of escalators, and there you are.
That's correct.
So it's very easy getting to Madison Square Garden. I went to the ROH New Japan Pro Wrestling Super Show at Madison Square Garden. So
did I. I don't know why that show gets hated on, because I thought that was one of the best shows that I've ever seen.
What show was
I'm
this? I'm sorry.
50-50 on it because I hated most of what ROH put on,
Yeah.
but what NJPW put on was
The crowd vibe that night was unreal. I mean,
It was a
when
great crowd.
guys like Suzuki and Ishii came out, the crowd went fucking crazy. It was unbelievable. So I went to
It was
4
great.
shows in a row that weekend. I went on Thursday night. I went to the Impact show. That's where the Tessa Joey Ryan match was. And it was also Lucha Brothers versus Rob Van Dam and Sabu, which was kind of cool.
wow.
And then on Friday, I went to Takeover. And that was Cole and Gargano. And
Oh,
2 out of 3 falls, I think.
see, I went to the takeover that Cole won the belt in Bridgeport.
Yep, I was there too in the front row. You could
Fuck
see me.
you. No, are you serious?
You can see me all over
No,
the TV.
seriously, I was third row.
You can see me all over the TV on that one.
You had to have been no. Were you like hard camera?
I was visible, but on the left. I was sitting on the like.
I gotta go look back and look, Matt, because
Yeah.
we were probably like so close to each other.
Yeah.
I was third row, by the stairs where they. So you know how the wrestlers come down the aisle and they go left, right to the stairs.
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. So we were in the same area.
That's fucking.
I was pretty close to
insane.
the green shirt guy.
All right, I'm gonna go back and look at that. This is
Yeah.
not.
I think it's so cool when we do these things and we find out that people were like
Yeah.
at the same show together before they knew each other. I know Brandy had a similar experience with some of the ad-free shows people in WrestleMania 19, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
There were like 5 of us there, and we had
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah.
So really quick, guys. We have 2 segments we typically do, but we're having so much fun talking. So we're gonna do Map It and Cash Course. Get that. We're not gonna say out of the way. Before we do those, I just wanted to make sure we again having such a great conversation. Triple H retained the WWF Championship. We're now in the midst of the Royal Rumble, and Rikishi
is just cleaning house.
He's cleaning house, and he's just eliminated Viscera. But we're going to go to our Map It segment with our good friend Henry, and here we go.
Yo ho ho!
Hey!
Blow me down!
Na 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 na.
332 Kitty Hawk, USS Kitty Hawk. This is Namcom State Dr. Roger, over.
like it normally does.
I don't know. Go for it. Hit it.
So I'm kind of at a loss. Royal Rumble 2000 comes to us from the beautiful Madison Square Garden in fabulous New York City. But I feel like our guest and Brandy have talked about it so much that I don't know where to go from here. So I'm probably going to bounce around my notes for a little bit. Bear with me for just a moment. Madison Square Garden is located between 7th and 8th Avenues and runs from 31st to 33rd Street in the heart of Midtown Manhattan in New York City. It's located in, and I believe is part of Penn Station. I wasn't able to actually confirm that. And is across the street from the Manhattan Center, which is best remembered for being the home of the earliest episodes of WWE Monday Night Raw. ECW would also hold a lot of shows inside the Manhattan Center, but we're not at the Manhattan Center for this show. So we move on a little bit. This version of Madison Square Garden is the fourth building to be called by that name. It opened its doors on February 11th, 1968, and is the oldest major sporting facility in the New York metropolitan area, the Garden being the home of the New York Knicks of the NBA and the New York Rangers of the National Hockey League. See here, keep going down. Madison Square Garden has been a hub, for lack of a better word, for many WWF, and WWE events. In fact, a few minutes ago, Brandy and Matt were both talking about the ROH New Japan Super Show that took place in 2019. New Japan is probably the biggest non-WWE wrestling promotion to ever run a show at the Garden. WCW never did it. ECW probably couldn't have gobbled up enough money to even rent the Garden, let alone try to sell it out. Don't get me wrong, product was good. That doesn't seem like it's a fit for Madison Square Garden. And Impact doesn't seem like it could draw a big enough crowd to cover the venue at Madison Square Garden. Some of the more better remembered moments from the Garden in WWE history are WrestleMania 10, which featured not one, but two matches for the WWF title, stemming from the 94 WWF Royal Rumble. Hulk Hogan famously beating the Iron Sheik in January of 1984. This show is actually the 16th anniversary of that event. It went down January the 23rd, 1984. He would begin a reign that would last just over 1,000 days and would come to an end when Andre the Giant sold the World Wrestling Federation title that he won from Hulk Hogan to Ted DiBiase, making him to date the shortest reigning champion ever. Before professional boxing would make its way out to Las Vegas with the advent of promoters like Don King, Madison Square Garden was actually known more for boxing than it was professional wrestling. The very first boxing match featuring Smokin' Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali took place at the Garden on the 8th day of March, 1971.
Henry.
Yo.
That's a precipice for a scene in the movie called American Gangster. Just throwing that out there.
That echoed a little bit. I don't know if it was something on your side or on mine, but anyway, that match went 15 rounds. A unanimous decision was awarded by the judges to Smokin' Joe Frazier. And Madison Square Garden was at one time home to the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. It was the longest continuous event at Madison Square Garden, running from 1877 until 2020. The 2021 edition of the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show was held outdoors owing to restrictions in place because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope it returns to the Garden because I always enjoyed turning on my TV and watching a dog show at MSG. That was always one of my big highlights.
You're fucking with me, right?
What do you mean?
You watched the dog show?
Yes.
I just remember the fucking dog show preempting Raw. That's all I ever remembered with the dog show.
That's because they never put it on any major network. Now that they can put the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show on Peacock, they don't have to put it on USA Network anymore. It never preempts Raw.
You watched the Henry. I've learned something new about Henry. Okay.
What's wrong with the puppers?
Nothing wrong with the puppers. I just didn't know that Henry enjoyed watching the dog show.
Yeah.
It's never come up before as a topic, but because that was one of the big things that happened at this venue, I think that's all I got.
I'm going to be replacing Henry in the group going forward, guys.
Map it with Matt. That's great. Oh my God. Henry, you know we love you. Michael, you want to do some cash course?
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
All right, buddy. Here we go.
You finally.
Money, 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 money.
Royal Rumble is all about the luck of the draw, but tonight we are talking the dollars and cents. As I've done for the past several weeks, we're going to look specifically at pay-per-view buys, and we're going to look at 2 years, do a 2-year comparison between the year 1999 and the year 2000, and we're actually going to see a slight decline in pay-per-view buys. The 1999 edition of the Royal Rumble, which emanated from Anaheim, California, and saw Vince McMahon emerge victorious in what up to that point might have been the most shocking Royal Rumble victory, had approximately
Worst Rumble ever. Go ahead.
Had approximately 650,000 buys, and then this year's 2000 edition that we're covering tonight had 590,000 buys. That's a decrease of about 60,000 buys, or 9%. Now, as I've done for the past several weeks, we're going to look at what was the pay-per-view price during that time, and it's an estimated $30. So we saw that the 2000 edition brought in approximately 17 million, and the 1999 version will bring in approximately 19 million for a decrease of $2 million. Those are the dollars and cents, and to me that was very interesting because this was still the height of the Attitude Era and the Royal Rumble. And I think the key takeaway here is that there was still interest in the product, but that you could see a slight decline due to the absence of such key players as Stone Cold Steve Austin. And this has been the dollars and cents for the cash course for Royal Rumble 2000.
I ran long enough that the crowd from Terry Bradshaw was enough to clear out, right?
No, actually, Money Mike was able to use his incredible leverage at the strip joint that he often joins us from to get Terry Bradshaw removed from the premises.
Removed hell. Terry Bradshaw was one of the best players to ever play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Money Mike should be using that stroke he has to get him on with us.
No.
Frank, it works better if you turn the sound on.
That's not happening, and let's just remember I'm a Bills Mafia member surrounded by Steelers country tonight. So
real quick, Adam, what's up?
Mike, that's an interesting nickname. Where'd you get that from? I don't remember.
What nickname?
Money Mike. Where'd you get that nickname from?
I believe that was you, wasn't it, Adam?
I think so. I think it was.
I think it was, and I love it. And believe it or not, I've never told anybody this before. Growing up, I hated when people would call me Mike. There's a few. You guys are the only people I ever let get away with calling me Mike. You guys and my old advisor, because that's how much I respect you guys. And from you guys, I think the name's cool, but I literally make everybody else call me Michael. But for you guys, I made the exception because the nickname was the coolest nickname anybody's ever given me.
So I should get 5% of your wages for the segment you just did because that name is something I'd come up with.
Michael, he thinks you get paid.
I was gonna say, Adam, you want 5% of zero?
We don't got no fucking revenue. We ain't got no goddamn revenue.
Wait. Time out.
I want 100% of Frank, one or the other.
Henry, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
I said 100% of Frank, and it messed him up.
But you know what? I joke about not getting paid for it. I hope you guys know I love doing this, and I love that we incorporated the cash course. It's awesome, and this has been great, Matt. You're a fantastic guest. I love your stories. You're honestly one of the most interactive guests that we've ever had.
I'm actually making some notes. There's other things I want to tell you guys.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's hear
please, let it, like Conrad says, let it rip, Tater Chip.
Is he the first guest that has notes?
No, actually, T-Weave had some notes.
Terry had notes.
Week. I was going to say T-Weave had some notes, but I love people that come prepared. So go ahead, Matt. What else do you want to discuss?
Well, we were Frank. We were both at I think it was Takeover 25. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So first of all, that main event might be the best match I've ever seen live. That was a fucking incredible match.
What was that main event?
It was Cole and Gargano with Cole going over.
Now, Matt, let me ask you this question: did you stick around long enough to see who was front row opposite us?
Yeah, we saw somebody.
Stephanie was there, and
was that the one Britt was at?
Britt was there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were like, holy shit. So we waited till the arena emptied, and this is the thing. I really think there's going to come a point in time where Adam and Britt are in WWE together because they were incredibly good to her. They brought her back. Stephanie brought her backstage afterwards. I don't think there's bad blood. It's just Britt has had her coming out party in AEW. I really think there's going to come a time where she goes to WWE.
Never know. I think the recent Cody, stuff. I think that means that no door is ever going to be fully closed or open, or I mean, who the hell thought he was going to leave? I mean, he fucking helped them build that.
I thought he'd have a job. I thought he'd be there for life. Not to interject, but I thought he'd be alive.
No, I do. Do you? So we talked. It's technically last week we talked about this, but peek behind the curtain. We recorded it yesterday. Who was talking about how he's not going to WWE now?
James.
I believe James and I both talked about that. The rumor and innuendo. There have been several sources reporting this, that the talks between WWE and Cody have cooled, that creative has been notified of said change. Dave Meltzer reported that this morning. And with Tony acquiring and purchasing ROH, the thought is, now that they've reestablished positive communication between Tony and Cody, that he could return to help with this new endeavor with ROH.
So, Matt, have you heard anything different, or did you still think he was?
No, this stuff I've heard ups and downs. I don't think anybody knows. I've also heard rumors that he was going to show up at the Garden tonight, but that seems silly to do that off TV.
I want Cody to be in WWE, but I want him to be there as the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. That's really what I want.
I don't know. WWE doesn't inherit like good. Nobody goes there with a good gimmick and they keep it good anymore.
That's very true. Keith,
look at all the promotions from NXT. How many promotions from NXT?
One exception. AJ Styles.
Well, I mean, AJ Styles is one of the best talents ever. No, but Keith Lee, good example.
Bearcat, fucking dumb.
There are people who make it through and do well. Riddle and Priest are doing okay. But even Nakamura, it's like, Jesus Christ, you couldn't figure out a way for this guy to matter. I mean, God, look at his NXT matches. They're like incredible.
What are your thoughts on what they've done to NXT?
It's terrible. I was praying that when it moved to sci-fi for the Olympics, that my DVR wouldn't record it, so I wouldn't have to watch it.
Honestly, haven't watched a lick of NXT since they changed it. I don't like what they've done. I don't like the setting. And I'm sorry, NXT. You can put a spider on the side of the fucking arena. It still ain't Halloween Havoc, okay?
What they're trying to do, though, is they're trying to sprinkle in like Dolph Ziggler, AJ to come in 1 or 2 nights. Thinking that's going to help.
I see that as moves of desperation.
Yeah, and that's killing Dolph Ziggler, honestly, because
Yeah, Dolph doesn't give a shit. He's
huge
just
fan of
there.
Dolph Ziggler as a worker.
Dolph's there for Paige. Oh, that is one Raw that was at that Izod Center right by me that I did not go to that I wish I did when Dolph
one was
cashed
that?
in. When
Oh,
Dolph
Dolph
cashed
cashed
in. Because that was the day after the
Dolph was
WrestleMania that was here. So the next night was at the arena next door. And that was a big Raw. And that cash in is an all time moment.
As an in-ring talent, he's top 5, 6.
Yeah. But he doesn't,
And
he's over it though. He's over it. So I'm over it for him, you know.
Yeah, let me ask. So you can always look for the positive things, and I try to. So I think what they've done with Mandy down there is good.
Yeah,
the toxic attraction thing is good.
Oh,
But let's talk about Braun Breaker. Why the fuck can't you call him Braun Steiner? You can't put the Steiner name on him. Is that a him thing, or I mean, he comes out there, he looks exactly like a goddamn Steiner, but you don't call him a Steiner. Everyone knows who that is.
It's just the intellectual property thing. That's all it is.
Well, and the thing is, they did this too, if you remember, with Charlotte. For years, she was just Charlotte, and then they gave her the Flair name later on. So who's to say when they promote Braun Steiner or Braun Breaker, who's to say they don't change his name when he goes to the WWE main roster? Because I do think that's his destination, and I think he'll be there sooner than everybody thinks.
I mean,
well, you also have what they did to Curtis Axel. They didn't want to let him use the Hennig name for forever and acknowledge his true background. So it's really weird what they'll do and what they won't do with certain generational talent.
Well, think about this. You got to look at this way. Remember, who was it? Sean Stasiak. His father was amazing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Stan the Man was amazing.
Sean Meat Stasiak.
Putski. They did it with Putski too. With that,
Scott Putski and Ivan Putski. Yes.
I can see where they're like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Tiger Ali Singh, son of Tiger Jeet Singh, who was completely terrible.
Yeah. But then it works. It works at other times. I mean, I'm trying to think now who the fuck it works with.
Randy Orton.
Charlotte. Charlotte. Yep.
That's because those are top, performers.
Yeah, but no, you're right. You're right. It's just NXT's hard. It's been hard to watch for me.
Yeah, no, it used to be. I thought that the past, from like 2016 to like 2019, NXT was like the best wrestling you could get.
Yep.
I went to like 3 or 4 takeovers in a row, something like that, because they had a couple. They had a bunch at Barclays. I went to a bunch of those. We were sitting pretty close for. There was one that was Ciampa and Gargano in like I want to say it was like a last man standing match.
Was that like did you go to the takeover Brooklyn's? Is that what you're talking about?
That was like Brooklyn 4 or something. Like that.
Yes, I was not at the first one with the Bailey match, which I personally think is one of the most important matches ever because the crowd went fucking crazy for the women, and it really established
the Royal Rumble. I'm sorry.
It really established the women as incredible in-ring performers. I think that was a pretty important match in women's wrestling history.
I agree with you, and it's a match I could still watch and be.
It's a great match. Yeah,
I've watched it over several. That whole show was good.
Yeah,
the whole show was good.
The takeovers were good. They would have like 5 matches, and they would all have a good 20 minutes or so, and they really gave guys a chance.
And that's the thing. I don't understand why Vince had to come in and change it.
I have no idea.
Because he was tired of NXT upstaging main roster.
And hold on a second though. I get that, Brandy. That's probably true. But why then have that Survivor Series? Was it 2018, where they had, or maybe it was 19, where they had it was 3-on-3 for all this. So it was NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw, and didn't NXT win the night?
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
so why do that if they're upstaging?
No idea.
Is it because they lost the Wednesday Night War? Is that really?
It's
So
kind of like
that's
having a
what
Royal
you
Rumble with numbered people, but letting everybody run in at once like dumbasses.
Oh well, I was gonna say, did everyone watch the spot where Takamichinoku broke his face?
Oh God, there it is again.
That they just replayed.
Yeah,
Are they replaying it again?
Yeah,
I might
he
be a
was
little
legit
behind.
injured from that.
Yes, he was. I think
Yeah.
it was his.
That's the first time I'm in.
What's everyone's time code?
I'm at 1937.
2 hours, 1939, 40.
Yeah, I'm right with
41.
Brandy.
Yeah, I'm actually a
I'm
little
about
ahead of
30
you. So.
seconds ahead.
All right, hold on a second.
2:20, 30.
All right, anyone that's ahead, pause. When you get to 2:20, 30, tell us, and we'll hit play, so we can catch up.
Oh, I'm 7 seconds too late.
It's all good. Then we'll wait. Just.
I'm good. I'm just being quiet because the show finally
there?
let out, and it's a madhouse.
Are you there, Matt?
Am I muted? Yeah.
No. Are you there?
15 more seconds.
Okay. Just say play. Someone say play. I know it's super quiet now. It's not good for
5 seconds.
This has got to be the shittiest Rumble we've had.
2, 1, play.
All right, cool. All right. So
I thought we established earlier that the shittiest Rumble was 99.
There's been some bad. Come on, there's been some. I was not a huge fan of this past one.
Nope, didn't like it.
No, the men's Rumble.
The women's one was okay. The women's one.
The women's Rumble was great.
I could tell you what my least favorite Rumble is, and I don't think this is a popular opinion. The 2020 Rumble. Edge's return was great, but who the fuck wants to see one person throw the first 15 people out of the ring?
Yes, Matt, you're absolutely right about that.
You don't have to convince me that Brock Lesnar is a monster because you've been doing that for 20 fucking years already. I know he doesn't have to show up at the end of every Money in the Bank and every Royal Rumble and fucking smash everybody. What good does that do anybody? I don't get that. I did not like that Rumble.
Real quick, Adam. I'm sorry. With the 2020, I was of the same opinion until Drew got him out.
That's how they got Drew over.
That's how they got me back.
That's how they got Drew.
I was furious for that first part of that Rumble, and then Edge coming back sealed it for me, and then Drew winning it sealed it for me. But go ahead.
The problem is, we as fans look forward to the Royal Rumble match as something so special and significant, and we have our hopes and dreams for it. But to Vince and the writers, it's just another tiny piece of storytelling.
Yeah.
And it's just another match that they have to book. And they'll use it to tell the story they want to tell like they always do.
Do you think it's always that way, Matt, or do you think that that's something that's occurred in recent years where it's become just a piece of storytelling?
No, it's always that way because that's what it was when Vince won, right? That was part of Austin versus Vince. That's why he won. That was 23 years ago.
So real quick, I see your hand up, Henry, but Adam, you had a point before I interrupted you. What was that point?
This Royal Rumble, they like to use the Royal Rumble to start new storylines, this and that and the other. It's a 30-man scheduled Royal Rumble. So let's throw Ty and Kyle, whatever the hell their name is, Ty and Ty. Let them run in 3 or 4 times. Let the Main Street Posse guys run in there just to fuck all these other storylines up. So,
well, I think if I remember correctly, those particular factions were pissed off they weren't included, so they were going to run in and fuck it up. I think that's what the storyline was, but I get what you're saying. It was like, what? It's obviously this roster is loaded, so and here comes The Rock. So I guess they just had to they were trying to go to everyone they let them get their shit in, right?
Okay, so do you want an unpopular opinion? And this will probably get me some heat, but I'll say it anyway. Since everybody's complaining about the Royal Rumble, not us, but collectively this year, everybody said 2022 was the worst. I say, what happens if you give it a 1-year hiatus and replace it with a massive King of the Ring tournament instead, and the winner of the King of the Ring goes to WrestleMania?
Yeah, I didn't realize that we invited Vince Russo onto our show.
Yeah. You're right about that being an unpopular opinion.
Another one like that. Vince hates tournaments.
Yeah.
Is that why? Because I honestly wish they'd bring King of the Ring back. I liked it.
That's why it went away. Vince hates tournaments.
Yeah.
They bring it back, but they don't do it right.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He hates tournaments, but for what is it, 93, 4, 5, 6, he had it for like 7 years. So why would he do it in
Yeah,
the
but he
first
just
place?
got to a point where he's just like, I don't like this anymore, and he didn't want to bring it back.
But by the way, I
And
want to highly recommend anyone go out of their way and watch the Vince McMahon interview with Pat McAfee. It was really
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I did.
watched that. That was
I watched it.
phenomenal.
It
It was
was really,
A
really good.
completely different side of Vince.
Now, the thing with me and Pat McAfee is this: I represent the Tennessee Titans, right? Or I'm a huge fan of Tennessee Titans, and for the better part of his NFL career, he was an Indianapolis Colt, who I would love to see all, unfortunately go fuck themselves. So, Pat McAfee and I have heat. He also showed up at the draft that was in Nashville and talked about how he never had to play when he was in Nashville because he never had to punt. Well, when your quarterback is Peyton Manning, that shit happens, okay? But he did. That was a really good interview, and I highly recommend anyone go check it out.
And I would also like to say, in case Pat McAfee ever sees this, Frank's opinions are his own and do not represent all of us here at Top Guy Theater. And if you'd like to come join us and talk about how easy it was to play the Tennessee Titans here on our show because you never had to punt, we would welcome you with open arms.
Yes, please. Please.
And real quick, Pat, I will also be here to give you the spoon that you can use to eat my ass.
Ha!
Oof.
So, Matt,
I never cared much because he's a fucking punter. Like, what impact do you have on the actual game of football? Not much.
It's a bad thing if you're on the field.
The views of Brandy Wagner and Frank Chernow are not reflective of the entire Top Guy.
I love Pat McAfee as a
It's a
commentator.
good interview.
As
I mean,
a punter, I'm like, what the fuck?
Maybe has too much of that bro energy for me. So
yeah, a lot of people have said that he's got a lot of energy.
Yeah, I mean he's a young man.
Have you listened to his and Brock?
Matt,
His and Brock was hilarious.
Brock is great in that interview. He's great. He stands up, throws the headphones up in the damn ceiling, knocks the damn microphone, and just
his setup. Like he breaks the table and the microphone and possibly the chair, and it was fabulous.
So Matt, I think you should come join us in on July 30th in Nashville. I really do.
Well, wasn't there a rumor that was going to be Top Guy weekend?
That is the rumor. So I'm hoping that it is.
Wait, what was the rumor?
That Nashville is going to be Top Guy weekend.
Yeah, there is that rumor, I think.
Because quite frankly, I'm already booked. I've got a hotel paid for. I got flights paid for, flying there first class. Ching ching. I'm going to go to Titans training camp while I'm there.
You say a hotel in Nashville? Is that what you said?
Yes, I have a hotel in Nashville. Yeah. Look, it was one night, Adam, okay? It was one night.
That's all you needed.
Matt, did you have any other topics on your notes that you wanted to go through too while we're watching the Rumble?
It was just other events I was at.
That's going to pick up a paper and it's going to fold out like this.
Others, because we talked a lot of WWE, but it seems like you're a very versatile wrestling fan and that you like a lot of promotions. So what are some other events that you've attended that are memorable and stick out that maybe that aren't all WWE related, or even if they are, still love to hear about them?
Yeah.
Here's Matt.
Before that,
it starts out this big and it goes out this big. Yeah, I got a couple things here.
That's funny. Before that, I still haven't spit it out about the takeover in Connecticut. During the women's match, which I think it was Candice LeRae and Io.
I think. Well, Candice came out and did something.
Yeah, she came out with a kendo stick.
Wasn't it? It was Io. I know it was Io Shirai, but who was she fighting? Was it Emily? Or Mia Yim or something? I can't remember.
Let me.
I love me some Io.
I'm looking it up really quickly.
Here comes the Mean Street Posse again. Jesus.
And there they go.
Shane.
It was Shayna too.
It was Baszler? It was Baszler. Okay.
Shayna over Io, but Candice LeRae interfered with the kendo stick, and that kendo stick is currently at my friend's house because it landed in front of us, and we took it home with us. And there was a point where after she first swung it, she was going to use it again, and when she went to go grab it, it wasn't there anymore because we had taken it. So she had to go back under the ring and find another kendo stick.
Oh my gosh,
so
and
Matt,
it's little nuggets like that you can only get here on Top Guy Theater, because that's an awesome story.
Yeah, this
Matt, is the kendo stick gimmicked?
I mean, it's it's broken. It's damaged from the blow, but it didn't look, it didn't strike me as having been toyed with, if that's what you mean.
There's not much you can do.
And security let you walk out of the building with a motherfucker.
We fucking walked out of the building with no problem. We just walked out of the building with the kendo stick. It was ridiculous.
It's gimmickable. It's either they work or they don't.
Yeah, and this same friend. I keep referencing. Every time I reference this friend, it's this same wrestling friend. He also has a Mr. Sacco that was from a Raw, and it was straight out of Triple H's mouth into the crowd, and he got it. So he's got like an Attitude Era used Mr. Sacco that was in Triple H's mouth.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
that is fucking amazing.
What if I had some of Stephanie's DNA on that sock?
Oh my god!
I have to ask.
All right.
Kane just entered the ring with what I'm seeing. It looks like somebody tried to set Madison Square Garden on fire from the inside with all that smoke. What did that look like being there live?
I think they started.
I don't remember that detail. All right, Michael, to get back to the other events. I was also at the 2002 Survivor Series at the Garden, which was the first Elimination Chamber. And I'm pretty sure Shawn Michaels won the championship that night.
Frank hates you now because Shawn is like his go-to wrestler.
Shawn Michaels is my all-time favorite wrestler. I don't hate him. I think he's amazing.
Because they're not shit in Alabama.
Stone Cold is my favorite character ever, but I think Shawn Michaels is the best wrestler ever. That makes sense.
Correct opinion to have. Correct opinion.
I would say that and this is based on me watching, not based on history. I'm not going to go say like, oh, it was Danny Hodge or the Briscoe brothers. Like, I didn't fucking watch those guys. I wasn't
right.
Wrong.
That's exactly
my top in-ring performers are Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles.
Yeah.
There you go.
And probably Ric Flair for the,
That's your Mount. Is that your Mount Rushmore?
I think it probably, and we're talking strictly in ring.
Yep.
Strictly in ring, because I wouldn't say that Shawn Michaels is known for, his talking. But I think HBK, Angle, and Styles, I think, are the three best. And I guess I'm giving Flair the fourth spot, honorary.
I agree with you, but I would replace Flair with Undertaker, just based on longevity.
Undertaker was, guys like Undertaker and Rock and Stone Cold, they were great workers in the ring. But I'm probably more partial to the more athletic guys these days, like the Adam Coles and the Ricochets.
So I'm partial to AJ because he's super humble in the locker room.
I mean, I'm not the type of guy who complains about the flippy floppy and the AEW and stuff. I mean, I think that you just have to entertain me again. You just have to entertain me, and
I agree.
Guys like the Young Bucks and the Will Ospreys of the world are fucking incredible wrestlers. There's like probably 10 guys wrestling now that could end up on future Mount Rushmores. Like the matches I saw between Cole and Gargano were like incredible matches.
Yes,
I think Danielson could be on a Mount Rushmore one day. Honestly,
yes.
Look at
you know what? That's an excellent. He is every match that guy has is great.
And when you just look at the storyline of his career with the babyface run, the heel runs, and the fact that he came back from what was supposed to be a career-ending neck injury, how can you not? And speaking of neck injuries, I think Edge could be on a Mount Rushmore as well.
Edge's return has been fantastic.
Yes.
You don't always get that. His programs have been great. His program with Rollins was excellent.
They're using him right. They're not using him too much.
They're using him right. I didn't think the Miz thing was necessary, but I think they did that for the sake of the women. Not to insult the women, but I think that they did that for Beth.
I do, to give Beth and Edge a chance to have a mixed tag together.
Right, because they never had that opportunity when they were both regularly active. But yeah, you know, and I think Miz is a Hall of Famer because he can do everything.
So you're a big Miz fan, because I actually agree with you that he's a Hall of Famer, and I don't know your opinion, but I hated what they did with him last year with Money in the Bank. I thought he deserved an actual title run.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on it. I was happy that he held the championship again. I think that permanently solidified the fact that he would be in the Hall of Fame for me.
You're right, because no matter how you look at it, he's a 2-time champion.
Yeah. His first, you know, he was young, and that was a little unexpected when he headlined Mania. You know, there was a couple of Manias during that era that were not very good.
27 is the one that sticks out the most to me.
Actually, while we're talking about it and the Rumble's road to WrestleMania, and this is varying a little off topic, but I'd like to get Matt's opinion on this, because I agree with you. 27 on the surface is a appalling WrestleMania, except for a couple matches. But what do you think of WrestleMania 27? I've always thought of it as a transitional WrestleMania, where its purpose, and that might not be the right word, but it's more a storytelling device, where 27's whole purpose was to set up 28. Because if you look at, really, there's 3 storylines, one of them accidental, that comes out of 27. Edge has at the time what would be the farewell match. 28, Edge goes into the Hall of Fame. Shawn goes into the Hall of Fame at 27, is the referee for the Undertaker Triple H rematch at 28, and the main event with The Rock sets up Rock Cena. So I think it has its benefits, but I've always thought as a storytelling device it's great, but as a standalone Mania, it's terrible.
Matt, real quick too, who's kind of your go-to talent in AEW right now?
Probably Adam Cole. I think he's great. I thought the Undisputed Era was the best thing NXT had.
And now they're there. They're all 3 of them are there.
You know, that one takeover was him versus Ricochet, North American title. I mean,
yeah,
that was an incredible match.
I'm a huge fan of in AEW. Love Darby. Love Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh God, Eddie Kingston, man.
Sammy Guevara.
What a fucking talent they uncovered for the world.
Yeah, I think Santana and Ortiz have
that tag team. I love Santana Ortiz. Santana Ortiz. Let me tell you something. The Lucha Brothers,
incredible.
Their entrance.
Ray Phoenix might be the best wrestler on the planet.
Just their entrance at All Out, the match at All. It's just
yeah. I was sad to miss that.
I'm not trying to rub that in, but that entire weekend, even though newsflash, I left with COVID. I got COVID after that.
Oh shit!
So maybe you missed
maybe
out.
Maybe I dodged.
You missed the COVID party.
I did go to the Dynamite. It was the TBS premiere. That was in New Jersey, and that's where Phoenix. Okay. That's where Phoenix got hurt.
Did that have the
Hangman that's right.
Danielson rematch on it, or one of the Danielson matches?
It opened with the Hangman Danielson rematch. Hangman beat him.
Those were some great matches too, weren't they?
They also had the Jade. You know, Jade won the title.
You know who's really?
But we were sitting right next to Brandon Phillips. He was like adjacent to us.
Now, real quick too. So, are you a low key big hog?
I'm on Tony's Patreon, but not at the top level.
Okay, because I'll tell you, I've told the story here before too. When we went in Boston, here's the finish on the Rumble too. Here's the botched finish on the Rumble.
Yeah.
But Tony actually came out to see me at the end of the show and gave me a hug. It was amazing.
Which show? Sorry.
With the do you remember the Halloween show? Dynamite, where the Young Bucks and Cole and Omega dressed up as Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was second row there, and nice. Tony knew I was there, and he at the end of the show he walked through the crowd to come out and shake my hand and give me a hug.
Nice, that's fantastic.
It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, Tony has called me a number of times, so I've chatted with him a bunch.
So we're gonna
join in on the Friday Rampage watch-alongs.
Yes, I've been doing that.
Aren't those fun?
Yeah,
those are really fun.
We need more people.
We're gonna flip the script. That is every Friday, Adam. Yeah, we're gonna flip the script.
Every Friday that it's not a live Rampage. Now, if it's a live Rampage, Tony's busy.
The
wait,
show
I
is
have a
over?
nugget. I have a nugget as that Michael said I had a nugget. I have another nugget here about the end of the Rumble.
I'm not a nugget.
What is it?
So when we left, and mind you, I'm 17 years old with my, probably 16-year-old high school girlfriend, and we leave and we were walking to Port Authority a few blocks away to take the bus home, and as soon as we leave the garden, there's a homeless guy on the corner, and he goes, "Who won the Rumble? The Rock?" It's just the homeless guy. He was in on the information.
That's crazy.
Real quick, guys, I know we're at the 2-hour mark, but I really do want to go back and we're going to watch the tables match. So
Yeah, this conversation is so good. I don't care if the show runs a little long. This is great.
Big Show got lucky. He didn't get hurt.
Getting the ratings.
So let's go to I'm just trying to find your time code real quick.
You're laughing, Matt. This is the fastest 2 hours we've filmed in a while, at least in my opinion. And we have fantastic guests on here. I don't want anybody to mistake that. Everybody's been fantastic, but just Matt's really brought it and really impressed me. It's
everyone go to time code 14 minutes 10 seconds.
I mean, the fact that I've been to a lot of noteworthy shows helping us here. 1410.
Yeah. You know who, Matt? I'd love to get your opinion on this because you've watched both products. The person who impressed me the most in AEW, ironically, is Sting. I think the way they've used him since he came in has been phenomenal, especially
correctly booked.
Contrast that with the WWE run. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, is everybody at 1410?
I'm at 1410. Yeah,
I'm there. Good to go.
You guys, you good, Henry?
I'm ready.
Adam, you ready?
Get it done.
Just like that night in Nashville. All right. In 3, 2, 1, play. Dudley Boys are in the ring. And go ahead.
What was I saying?
Talking about Sting and AEW versus
Sting.
WWE.
Yeah, no, he's been properly booked. Appreciate his appearances and occasional matches. Tomorrow will be the first time I ever see him in a match.
Isn't that insane? That's insane. Yeah.
He was. I should have seen him at Grand Slam, but I didn't make it, as I detailed earlier.
So we got to see him at Double or Nothing when it was him and Darby versus All Ego and Scorpio Sky.
I mean, I love AEW. I think the wrestling is fantastic. I think they have an overcrowding problem.
Yes, they do.
I think everybody, even Conrad, has acknowledged that everybody thinks they have an overcrowding.
I mean, you used up a few minutes of Full Gear to introduce Jay Lethal, and what has he done? Where the fuck is he?
You know where I think we're going to see Jay Lethal thrive is in this new ROH acquisition.
And he's such a damn good worker too.
Because of the lineage and the history that he has with ROH.
He's so good. I saw. They did a Impact. Here you go, Michael. They did an Impact. I used to see TNA house shows in Rahway, New Jersey, and we actually saw they actually did a title change at.
I remember that.
Jay Lethal won the X Division title because it's right next to his hometown. I think it was against Amazing Red.
I think it was, and then he dropped it back to him eventually.
And then he dropped it back to him. Yeah, I think they did both title switches at house shows.
Amazing Red has always been one of my favorites.
I will say the little I do know about Impact. Amazing Red was one of those guys and then Sanjay Dutt. I loved him.
He's who I try to do a lot of my
I like Felix Skipper in WCW, but I really liked him in the matches I saw of him in Impact because I have seen some stuff, and those are the guys that always stuck out to me.
I never went to a TNA or Impact pay-per-view, but they did shoot at the Manhattan Center a bunch of years ago, and me and the same friend sat in the front. We had they would tape so much. They would tape like 3 or 4 episodes in one night, and it was like a really, really long taping. But there was a whole. I don't know if anybody ever watched TNA closely, but
I did.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, Bully Ray was feuding with Dixie Carter for whatever reason, and for months was threatening to put her through a table. And we were actually there the night when he actually finally.
Oh, I've seen the footage of that.
And they actually have that as the number one. I am featured in the number one TNA moment of all time because
that is cool.
They always put that on the countdown. It's the number one TNA moment of all time, and you can see me going like this, "Boo!" And it's like just me on the screen. And for months, they used that clip of me booing as their like stock footage of a fan booing, even for episodes where I wasn't at. They were just using me as the booing.
That's fucking
fan.
awesome. Look
What
at
was
you,
it like-
your internet sensation.
Yeah.
What was
So
it
here-
like to attend events in the Manhattan Center too?
Really cool. Really
First
cool.
thought.
So that building is weird. You know, it's like everything in Manhattan. There's several levels. There's the Hammerstein Ballroom, which is like ground level, which is where that GCW show just was a couple weeks ago.
Yep, and the one night stand used to
One
be
that
the
was like
And
a
the-
fart in church.
And the one night stand. Yeah, it wasn't the best show. I watched a little.
That's one building I wish I could have wrestled in.
Yeah, and then above that, that's called the whole building is called the Manhattan Center, but the large ballroom is called the Hammerstein Ballroom, and the small ballroom is called the Grand Ballroom, and that's where the Impact tapings were at the Grand Ballroom.
And that's where the Raw shows used to emanate from when they first started.
I think there's been Raws in both. I'm not completely sure. I know that the recent when they did like the anniversary special, I'm pretty sure that was in the
double leg
that was
drop.
in the big.
Jesus.
So here's a nugget for you. Tommy,
You
Dreamer
like
was-
that word nugget, don't you?
Well, you said it, so I'm giving you. I'm
I
trying
know.
to. Yeah, I'm trying to get your subscriber count up here.
Oh, this episode will. These are phenomenal stories.
So, we were sitting in the front row and we were drinking all night, and we were having a fucking blast, me and my friend. And the main event was, I don't remember the specifics, but it was like an ECW type of faction with Tommy Dreamer against, I think like EC3 was like the corporate. He was part of like Dixie Carter's like corporate squad. And Tommy Dreamer came out, and that was like the big main event. Everyone's hyped up. And my friend's holding his drink, and it's like a vodka soda or something in a cup. And Tommy walks over to us, and everyone's standing and cheering, going crazy, and it's really a hype moment. And Tommy's plan was to take my friend's drink and do like an Austin style chug of it, and get hyped up and go into the ring and have the match. He was holding a kendo stick, I think. But my friend didn't want to give up his $15 vodka soda, so they sat there and fucking wrestled with the cup, and he was like, "Let me have your drink," and my friend's like, "No," and he goes, "Then at least let me have a sip." So you can see Tommy Dreamer take a sip of it. He took a little sip of it and gave it back to him. So you can see that.
I can see Tommy Dreamer taking it and just pouring it straight up.
You can't hear that. You can't hear the exchange on the broadcast, but you can see them fighting over the cup.
That's fucking amazing.
We fucking laughed, because whenever it aired later the next week or whatever, we were looking for that, and we fucking laughed our asses off because that was actually on TV. That was fun. That was another first row. It was like the Hardys against the Wolves in like a ladder match, and that was awesome.
Did you attend Raw 25? Because I know there were aspects from Barclays and Manhattan Center.
No, I did not go to that. I think tickets would have been out of control.
Oh, man.
Going to the Garden these days is fucking unaffordable. That's another reason why me and my friend go to a lot of AEW now, is because the tickets are not out of control. It costs so much money to go to Survivor Series. Like, it was not worth it. Hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Meanwhile, I think it was $200 for tomorrow night for an AEW pay-per-view. I think for the Dynamites where we sat on the floor, it was like $130 or something.
Yeah, and that's what they use. That's what WWE used to be. But I'll be honest with you, like now, I wouldn't pay for like their front row has the superstar packages. I would not get those.
Yeah.
Those are, like,
Do you know how much the tickets were? Real quick, honestly, Mike. Like if you wanted front row, camera side, even non-camera side for Backlash, you know how much the front row ticket was?
I'm gonna guess $500.
$1,200
Holy
on Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster.
Wait, resale or market?
No, it was not resale. It was
Holy
not, because I was gonna blow out. I was gonna ball out, but we had like 4 tickets out to get. I'm not even fucking $4,000 for a goddamn wrestling.
That's 4 years. That's 4 years of an ad-free show's annual Top Guy membership right there.
But people pay it. That's the crazy part.
I know.
I was gonna. Then I'm like, well, if you get third row, it's $650. Are you kidding me? I better get a lap dance, a colonic, and a hand job for that kind of money going to a wrestling show.
Hold on, Frank. Do you want all of those at the same time?
I'd like the lap dance, then the hand job, and then finish the evening with the colonic as just a nice way to go home.
Ticket prices here for a second.
A colonic is where they just pretty much wash your asshole out.
I'm sorry I asked.
Hey, everyone needs a nice clean asshole, okay?
We're in the weeds.
We are in the weeds.
And I'm going to nail the guys out by telling a ticket pricing. I'm going to tell a ticket pricing story here because I remember when I went to my first pay-per-view back in 2009, Cyber Sunday, my mom, grandma, and I had front row ringside seats, and they were $175 a piece for front row ringside at the Mellon Arena. And that was not a bad price at that time. And I think the most we ever paid for ringside at a pay-per-view was the $250 we paid per seat in Buffalo 2 years later at Night of Champions, which is available in the archives of Top Guy Theater, and we might be revisiting later this year, folks. So keep an eye out for that.
These chairs.
I think that's reasonable for front row. Anything above like $300 for a wrestling event, like
the only exception I could see for that is WrestleMania. I could see WrestleMania being a little bit more, but not even.
You don't want to know what front row for WrestleMania is. It's
you can't afford that.
Thousands of dollars.
It's becoming, and I mean this in a complimentary way, but it's almost becoming like the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
indeed.
I'm kind of hoping that WrestleMania 40 is back here from the New York area.
I have a question I thought of this question earlier today, Matt, and it ties into exactly what you're saying. WrestleMania 10 or WrestleMania 1, 10, and 20 all were held at the Garden. I know it probably would never ever happen because now
crazy spot
on that. But would you like to see WrestleMania 40 or even WrestleMania 50 return to MSG and actually be held in the arena just for the nostalgic feel of it?
Nope, because then I would never, ever, ever be able to go because I wouldn't be able to get a ticket or afford to go.
They need to return it to Birmingham.
If they have it at MetLife, well, there's a lot of seats there. I could figure out a way to get there.
I'd love for it to be held out just because I love Las Vegas. I want to see it held in Allegiant Stadium like where they had SummerSlam.
I think we're not that far off from SummerSlam being turned into 2 days as well.
And that was the end of the tables match.
Wait, you think SummerSlam could be a 2-day event as well? I think they keep it just to WrestleMania. Because it makes WrestleMania.
I don't like the 2-day WrestleMania.
That's a topic because I went to 2 recent WrestleManias and one was one very long day and one was split into 2 days. And I honestly don't know which one was less challenging. First of all, the WrestleMania, I went to 4 events in a row. I went to Impact, TakeOver, Supercard, and Mania 4 days in a row. So that was tough. And Mania was like 7 hours. That was hard. But this past one, I had so much fun night one. You know, that was there was the moment we talked about earlier. There was I think that night one ended with Bianca.
Yep, Bianca and Bale and Sasha.
And the rain and everything, and it was a trying day. And then I woke up the next day and I was like, oh man, I have to go back to WrestleMania again today. Like it was kind of like that was a hardship as somebody going. But it was also a hardship to go to one that was 7 hours long.
So if you had to gun to your head right now, would you say two nights?
I think 2 nights because I think that the product was better.
I agree.
If you split the talent into 2 nights and you treat it as 2 broadcasts, then you can spread out the good quality work.
I agree. But do you want my opinion? And it's
of course.
And it might not be popular. WrestleMania is the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop. The top talent I'm sorry. I think you should have a hard cap at WrestleMania at 4 hours, and I think it should only be the top talent that are on there. And I don't even think you should defend every championship.
I don't think you should bring back people, legends and shit that come by 1 or 2 times a year. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I don't love that, but that is what WrestleMania is. It's supposed to be a mainstream thing.
Yeah.
I don't know who keeps up with modern WWE, but spoiler from SmackDown last night. Last week I texted my friend and I said,
I do.
I said, if Johnny Knoxville's going to have this match, it better not be for the fucking Intercontinental Championship. So I was happy that it's not going to be. If he wants to have a match, fine. But I didn't want him to walk out of WrestleMania with the same belt that, Steamboat and Savage fought for.
I'm happy to see Ricochet with the title. Sidebar, but I think Ricochet could be a great champion.
Ricochet is an incredible wrestler. He hasn't really been he showed that prior to any WWE affiliation. He showed it in NXT, and he hasn't really been given a chance to show.
He did it in Lucha Underground too. He was badass in Lucha Underground.
It's funny how many people were on that. I really did not watch it.
I never.
The first 2 seasons, even the first 3 seasons, were amazing.
Yes.
Last season sucked.
Season of what now? I'm sorry.
Lucha Underground.
Okay, we're gonna listen before we get cancel culture, because the bikini contest is starting, and I don't want to have edit points.
Ooh, stop it.
We're gonna wrap this thing up. So let's do a quick go around to end the show. Hello, Terry Torchia. Quick go around on our thoughts on Royal Rumble 2000. Matt, we'll start with you.
What is it? What are we doing?
Your final thoughts on Royal Rumble 2000.
Oh, well, I'll be honest. I really been spending time talking to you guys. I really didn't even watch it.
Okay.
That was a good show. I mean, I paid most attention to the title match, which I was surprised at how many times they left the ring and then went back in, and then left the ring for more weapons and then went back in.
Yeah.
I mean, that was really a bloody affair. Fantastic match. Tables match, good. The Taz thing. I mean, being there for that was awesome. We all kind of knew it was going to be Taz, a New Yorker, and then when he came out, that was awesome, and that was the peak of his career in WWE. And then you knew The Rock was going to win. The match itself wasn't great, but I guess it was cool to see The Rock win. He only won one Rumble. Interesting fact. Do you know that there has never been a WrestleMania that at the end of it, The Rock was a champion? That never happened.
I never knew that.
He entered WrestleManias as I'm talking about world champion. He entered WrestleManias as world champion, and he's won matches at WrestleMania, but he never left WrestleMania with a world championship.
That's cool. Do you think that could change next year? Just one final. I know we're in wrap up, but just one final question. Do you think he could beat Roman Reigns for the title?
I just don't see it happening because I think he's just so far beyond the WWE, and he's probably the most successful human to ever be alive. So I don't see why he would have to do something athletic. He just doesn't need to do it. He didn't even show up for the Survivor Series that was in his honor.
Yes, I'm.
I don't know who's going to dethrone Reigns. They probably don't know yet.
I'm content if he holds the belt for another year. I really am.
Yeah.
Michael, your thoughts on Rumble?
Okay, two quick thoughts. Rumble, a great pay-per-view, excellent matches. I'll just end by saying this. The conversations we've had tonight and the level of detail, this is the reason I love being on this show, and I think this is a gold standard show that we could show anybody. This is what Top Guy Theater is about. Yep. Matt, thank you so much for your time tonight. Very much appreciated.
Well,
Adam, your thoughts?
I mean, I was on the episode too, and it seems like the last 2 or 3 I've been on have been pretty good, So. No, but Royal Rumble 2000, the matches were good. The Royal Rumble itself, there's too much going on. There's way too much going on.
Yeah, it was everyone trying to get
away from the actual match. I mean, it's. But other than that, I mean, it's normal. Nothing special to me, really.
And
I had
Adam,
to
thank
ruin
you.
the match, though, the Royal Rumble match.
And Adam, thank you so much for your time as well. You know, I think that you had a
Oh, I'm just, I love messing with you. I'm trying to get an F-bomb out of
I
it.
know. I just like to mention it too, because you do, especially being a former and somewhat current worker, you add a lot of value.
Hello, Ivory.
Hey, I don't care what you say. Luna is not bad looking right here.
All
She
right.
got a nice ass body.
Michael's gonna be like, censor. Brandy, your thoughts on Royal Rumble?
Obviously, it was a great event. Honestly, I wasn't really paying much of attention to the show either. I was paying attention to the conversation. And that's, I think, what's fun about Top Guy Theater. It's not necessarily about the show so much as it's about us getting to know each other and having these great conversations. So hopefully Matt can join us again for another episode. That will be super fun. And I look forward to our next Top Guy Theater classic because this was a cool idea.
It was awesome. Henry?
I'm regretting not starting the show with a table match. But all in all, I had a lot of fun tonight. Matt told a lot of interesting stories. The Royal Rumble actually wasn't all that bad. For the record, the next year's edition of the Royal Rumble, where Drew Carey tries to bribe Kang with all of his monies, to me, it's the worst Royal Rumble match ever.
Becky.
But I had a lot of fun tonight. If this concept actually catches on, Frank, am I going to have to throw you out of here?
Yeah, Jackie's doing a drop top.
Yes, we are going to have to.
Way ahead of. She was way ahead
send
of
him to take a
the
cold
times.
shower.
Way ahead of the times with the twerking there. I mean, that
Calm
wasn't even
down there.
wasn't even a word back then.
That is very true.
And I'll close by saying what Brandy said. When I suggested this idea, I didn't really know how well it was going to work. I'm interested to hear what you, the listener, thinks once this finally drops. But I think I want to do this again. And I think when we do it again, the most unpopular thing anybody's going to say all night, I want to go back and carve up Halloween Havoc 1998.
Shut your whore mouth.
I wasn't on for that. I'm game to do that. It's fun.
We'll have to bring Matt in for
Now,
that
as
too.
we're recording this, Halloween Havoc 1998 is still going on.
Yes, it is. Let me give you my. I think it's time for the what is it called? Bubble wrap bikini.
Bubble wrap. I love
So, good Lord, have mercy. So listen, I gotta stop watching this. So, this was a really Royal Rumble 2000. Really, I loved it. I think fondly of it all the time, and I'm Matt. I honestly spent so much. I feel like I've known you for years now. So I'm so glad I just took a shot and DM'd you, and so Matt goes, "I'd love to, but just so you know, no offense, I've never watched it." And I was like, "I don't care. It's all good. Like everyone has a life going on. This is my little hobby. We all come on here, have a good time, and." You were the cream of the crop, buddy, and I really appreciate it. And here comes Mae Young. Now I can stop watching. Why are you time
out? You're saying that beyond this, we all have lives?
We do. I know you do, Henry. Matt, I forgot to ask you. What do you do for a living?
I actually work in television. I distribute syndicated programming for what we are now known as Paramount. I worked for CBS television for many years, and then there was a merger in 2019, and we became Viacom CBS. And then last week, they rebranded us all as Paramount because the streaming service is Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So I'm a Paramount employee. But my department is responsible for the satellite distribution of daytime shows like Dr. Phil and Rachel Ray. So I work with those production companies. They create the show, and then my team gets it out to the world, basically.
That's incredible. That's fucking incredible.
That's awesome. That's a show in and of itself.
Yeah, well, I'd love to. Oh yeah. Oh boy, I've
been doing it for a long time too. I've been there.
Matt, thanks for reminding me how boring Alabama is.
Yeah. All right. On that note, because we could start talking again, I want to thank Matt for being here tonight and everybody else that is with us: Brandy, Henry, Michael, Bama, and myself, I wish you all a great evening. As I always say, and you're probably sick of, tighten up. And let's just where the hell's the outro? There it is. Let's roll the outro.
14 WrestleManias.
A leg drop. It almost missed. A body slam.
Are you ready to fight? Who will survive? He's got him! Goodbye. Later.